nothing, I'm going all in. It's my time, I know that it's my calling. Coming at 'em, they ain't even see.
Racing experience. Wow, racing maps await you. The new racing template is online. Create your racetrack gameplay. Navigate the forest racetrack. Unleash your racing passion. Surpass your opponents. Become the king of speed. Unlimited speed. Ignite your passion for speed. Play WoW now. racing experience. Wow, racing maps await you. The new racing template is online. Create your racetrack gameplay. Navigate the forest racetrack. Unleash your racing passion. Surpass your opponents. Become the king of speed. Unlimited speed. Ignite your passion for speed. Play WoW now.
Boy, oh boy, day one gave us so many surprises. Thunder Talk finishing the day in first place. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the PUBG Mobile Global Championship, coming to you live from Bangkok, Thailand. And we've been talking about surprises. How about we actually end up talking about Orangutan from India? This squad, first time at a global event, they end up finishing in fourth place with 43 points. And I want to get a chance to talk to Aru here, the mastermind, the silent assassin for this squad. Because Aru, what was the biggest lesson that you guys learned from day one?
I won't say a big one lesson that we learned, but it was just we had something in mind and the lobby had something else to offer. So I think both of those things aligned, and as we predicted the lobby would be, it's almost exactly the way we thought it would be. So we are pretty much confident because we understand how the structure of the lobby is.
And I absolutely love the way you guys were just gaining that confidence. A lot of the viewers were saying that you were camping. I personally don't think so. Now, going into the last match, you guys did do something that surprised me, and that was hunt down APG that's currently in last place. What made you make that decision?
It's our drop. Whoever comes to our drop, we're going to hunt them down.
APG, thank you so much, Aru. That is a shot if I've ever heard one. And now going to other surprises. We got Tulika Madbull. You saw me do an interview with him yesterday. We're gonna do another one. Tulika, your team was able to get together in July of this year. What has caused you guys to make such a great synergy in such a short time?
Так, Толика, ваша команда собралась в июле этого года. Как за короткое время вы смогли выстроить такую синергию?
Мы очень много тренировались, работали над улучшением игры, работали над макро, над коммуникацией, чтобы показать хорошую игру. Тем более у нас нет организации, что дает дополнительную мотивацию показать, на что мы способны.
We trained a lot. We worked on building our communication and our macro game. And since we don't have an organization behind us, it gives us more motivation to show a good performance.
Well, you're definitely putting in a good performance, but let's rewind a little bit because yesterday in Rondo, that was one of your least performances. Very poor performance, I would say. 15 plays, 5 eliminations. What are you looking to change going into Rondo today?
Что вы планируете сделать сегодня на карте Рондо, учитывая то, что ваши результаты были плохими, 15 место и 5 elimination?
Постараемся сыграть как минимум не хуже.
So we perform our best, no worse today.
Okay, I expect a better than 15 plays, and more than 5 eliminations if that's the case. Because, ladies and gentlemen, this is day 2 of the Gauntlet.
That's right, Seven. It's day 2 out of 3. The time for excuses is over. The time to perform is now. What's up, everybody? I'm Hot Jukes here with Maxman and Neptura. Man, day 1 was insane. Thunder Talk leading the charge with 77 points. As a matter of fact, they have a 39-point lead over that 8th place team. That's D Xavier. I mean, did we see this coming, Max?
No, genuinely, when I look at the PL teams, Hot Jukes, I'm mainly looking at Weibo, right, with Order, with Suk, and I was like, Thunder Talk, the fragging potential, it's a little bit inconsistent, but yesterday, Sitting popping off, Jing popping off, King popping off, AJ popping off, they're all popping off here, Hot Jukes, and I wonder, can we see that continue entering in the second day? Because if they can do it again, chances are they're locking in their position for the top 7.
Oh, yes, indeed. You can see right now that was the schedule. It's gone. This is the format that we got going on. The Gauntlet is here and now, guys. Yeah, so we're in day number 2. After this, we're going to be past that halfway point, right, Neptura? So just how important is it for these teams to perform? And which teams do you think desperately need to right here, right now?
I mean, it would be a very easy answer to say, oh, Alpha Gaming need to step up today, but it's because it's true, right? After game 3 today, we pass that halfway mark and we start going downhill. We start going to the closing of the Gauntlet stage. And so this is where these teams need to step up because tomorrow is going to be too late. I would say even once we get to the Miramars today, it's going to be way too late to try and do a lot here because these other teams that have done so well yesterday will most likely continue to do well today. They're just going to be too far ahead, Juke.
Yeah, $3 million is on the line right now, guys. And I'm telling you, there's all these crazy teams in this lobby right here. They do not want to go to the group stage, right, Max? So with 7 slots available, I think we definitely had some surprises. I do agree with Alpha needing to step up big time today. Who else do you think needs to step up?
Oh, I'm looking at Regnum Karya. 13th position currently, standing with only 19 points. Their best game was the first Orango of the day with 6 elimination, 4th place finish, which is, pretty decent, but it's not decent when you look at the rest of the games where they keep going out super early on. I'm talking 13th, 10th, 16th, 15th, 12th. This is not the Regnum Karya of old that we're used to seeing here in these international lobbies. So Regnum Karya, day 1, a little bit of a fumble here, Hot Jukes, but I truly believe that they're going to bring back some good action here because it's Regnum Karya, the most consistent team in the world on global stage. They got something up their sleeve. I'm 100% certain about it.
Yeah, and I hope so, because honestly, they need to double their performance yesterday just to even catch up to 7th place here, Neptura, right? Right now, that 7th place cutoff is going to be Alpha 7, and we're going to get into that once we hit in these overall rankings, right? So, I mean, for Regnum Karya, they need to do what they did and ×2 and even more, right? So when it comes to their play style, right? Because I know you're looking at their macros, so, right, what do you think they need to do differently here today?
Listen, I think in day one, they actually had some really good plays. The struggle was trying to just convert that into some points, right? Because I think when we look at the individual fights they had, several times we were like, there we go, that's Regnum, baby. That's who we know to be that team. And then it just wasn't working when it comes to the leaderboard. So I feel like maybe there's some issues there with maybe a little bit of the timing. Maybe they're a little bit too delayed. I'm not going to say hesitant. They're not a hesitant team at all. But, you know, maybe just a little bit too delayed, or maybe they're getting caught out a little bit too much where, you know, they need to be splitting up a little bit more to adapt to this lobby when they want to be more compact. Something like that, I think, might just turn the tide for them and get those points on the board.
Yeah, it would be nice to see. But though, looking at these replays, I'm actually looking at this replay here of the early fight in Rondo happening between R8 and Alpha 7. And when you're looking at day one here, one big key point to bring up is going to be how R8 were just so dominant from start to finish of day one, right? Because this is a team from MENA that were like, regionally, they do great alongside maybe Geek. Going into a global, MENA, we're usually a little bit uncertain as to predict them because they're usually quite inconsistent. But no, R8 bringing the heat from the get-go, extremely consistent gameplay, in particular, Ida performing, which is pretty expected because he's one of the main fraggers of the team. I'm especially excited here, Niptro, with Marth, because this guy is normally more of a support off-angle player trying to set up his team. He's currently the 4th best player in the Gauntlet on day one with 13 eliminations on his lonesome. Marth, if he keeps this kind of momentum going, R8 might just secure an early spot for MENA in the grand finals.
And what a surprise it has been, right? Because exactly what you were saying, we're not used to seeing this kind of performance out of R8. Yes, they're very consistent. Yeah, you know, they're doing really well. But 3rd on the leaderboard, I don't think anybody expected that. So it's looking really, really good for them. We just want to see that consistency now. And it's the same for Thunder Talkins yesterday. We need to see a little bit more, or not more, but continuation of what that was. We need to see that through to today. Mabbles as well. We saw them in his interview earlier, Max, as well, right? So yes. I do want to see just not so much more from them, but just a continuation, because yesterday was really good for these top 17.
Yeah, it was like, what more can we do? They're sure it's asking too much from us. What? We're already in top 7, but here we go, looking at our first head-to-head of the day. And of course here, Hot Jukes, is the main rival. We were all expected to happen here. It's Orangutan versus APG, and well, the numbers speak for themselves, because if you're looking at the numbers, Orangutan are completely outperforming APG, especially with that hot drop in Miramar. I'm wondering, now that they got that confidence built up against APG, can we expect more hot drops to happen just to ruin APG's chances of going to the finals?
And I hope we see some more hot drop action, because, I mean, we heard there from OG, right? They said, you know what, that's our drop spot, right? And they're going to claim it for themselves. They outperformed APG by a mile yesterday, right? The thing that we have to consider, though, right, is this is OG's first time here, right? We know what Alpha Gaming could do, Max, right? We know that the performance is pretty much imminent at this point. Do you think OG could replicate day one and hold off some of these monster squads that are on the second half of the leaderboards?
Well, I've actually seen for Orangutan, going back yesterday, rewatching the games, what Orangutan can improve upon is avoiding mid-game fights. And if we can see that happening, because we saw game 1, game 2, they would survive. I think AKOP survived as a solo game 1 on Rondo. And then game 2 it was Aru surviving under the bridge as a solo. If they're able to maintain their players, their entire squad alive in those similar positions, chances are we might have had an Orangutan win in those particular games. So that would be a 1 point of improvement. If we do see that coming out from Orangutan, they're going to somewhat solidify a position in top 7. But again, bottom teams here, Niptura. On top 7, Alpha Gaming, Ulf, Regnum, E-Arena, DRX, Deek Xavier. Do we truly expect all those teams to take a beating without fighting back? I think we're going to see a big change up from these bottom squads in these next 6 games.
Oh, 110%. We have to, right? These are not teams to go down without a fight. Regnum, Karya, I know we talked about them earlier. Alpha Gaming, I mean, these are 2 powerhouses of the global stage, and not even regionally, just globally. And yet here they are in the bottom, you know, the bottom 8 here. So I think we're going to be seeing a lot before this day is done.
Oh no!
For sure.
Wait.
What?
Marzi is Sing DRX. No, if you guys don't know, in India, Marzi is like he's like me, but in India. Okay, whoever he supports, they get destroyed. He picked Reject during BMIC. Marzi, how can you do that to DRX? I blame Marzi for this.
Oh, no. Guys, make sure you guys are checking out all the crazy talk that's happening in the Gauntlet. And also, you know, put in your input as well. Make sure you hit those QR codes, and then hopefully we can feature some of your comments here in just a little bit. Also, we got to show some big love to the Infinix GT30 series, the official gaming phone of PMGC 2025, engineered for precision, performance, and victory, empowering every gamer to be the one and outplay the rest on the global stage. So guys, man,
Hello guys, welcome to another brand new live stream. Chale aslam abaro.
43 points on the day are great. My big concern, Neptura, right, when it comes to OG, is some of these teams, right, that have a good solid day one will come back and say, you know what, maybe we should change things up. Maybe we should start getting a little bit more aggressive. We saw some of a little bit of that more aggression towards the second half in day one, right? What do you think OG should do here, right? Should they kind of replicate that kind of
Day of
more,
comeback.
tactical weight back play style, or should they up the aggression here and now? What do you think?
I think that day one was enough to build the from the interview, they're sounding very confident. I need to see them rack up those points in the eliminations because the rest of the lobby, they had day one, everybody was playing probably a little bit more quieter. Well, they're going to start ramping up that heat. OG need to bring the same sort of level.
Yeah.
OG hopefully can do it this time around. Moving on to the stage, you're looking at all the players, they're fully locked in here, Niptura. But actually, talking about teams that should be a little bit more aggressive here, I'm looking at the side of Ulf. This is a team you mentioned a few times on day one, right? As they're playing way more passive. For the players on this roster, this is very unusual. You have Solis, you have Ketch, you have especially Erin, the rising star of Turkey. This is a team that I am expecting to level aggression because day one, for me, they were just invisible. We didn't see anything of true value coming out from this roster.
Yeah, it's really, really strange. I mean, we've seen so much from them over this being very, very aggressive. This version of the roster is a lot more passive, is a lot more controlled in how they do things, but this is a little too far because at this point now we're not seeing anything. They're being so controlled and so contained that they're not doing anything. So definitely need to step that up. I don't know what the idea should be though. I personally am always a fan of being a little bit quicker to do things. This is a team that is slower to rotate, and maybe if they were just a little bit more snappy with their rotates and their decision making, they might see more results.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you one thing, though. We're going into Rondo right now, Max, man, right? And we saw some crazy hot drops in day one. We saw R8 versus Alpha 7. We got about a minute on the clock. Why don't you break down some of those hot drops that are about to happen here?
I mean, Alpha 7 R8, of course, as you just said, the main one that is going to be happening. We'll see who's going to be able to take the dub this time around. We had Ulf fighting Virtus.pro in Stadium. There was a very big fight. The Virtus.pro did end up winning and did get rid of all of Ulf in that position and did force a recall, so that was very well played. But we keep talking about Orangutan here on the pre-show. Niptura, Kara versus Orangutan did happen, and it did result in them going down to a solo player. I believe it was Aru who then went for the full recall and revived his entire team, which was great. Are they going to contest it after they built up a bit more confidence yesterday? That's a very big question that we're going to see answered very, very quickly.
Yeah, I think it's entirely possible. Honestly, I wouldn't put past anything past OG at this point. They're feeling so good after yesterday. I just hope they can contain that and put that energy, put that confidence into making some really big brain plays and not just make silly decisions because they're being really overconfident. That's the balance that you've got to keep here. So I just really hope and pray that that's what we're gonna see from them today, and it's not gonna be a little bit of a car wreck, because we need to see that OG. We've loved what we've seen from them so far. We just need them to bring the heat.
Well, the heat is coming, Max. That hot drop, man. It's coming. We know it's only a matter of time, guys. Can OG hold it on? Can they get those eliminations? Let's see if it's going to happen right here, right now. Let's go ahead and take it on over to Blake and John Allen.
Hello, and welcome to day 2 here of the Gauntlet. And we've got another Rondo up and up to bat. It is going to be big. It's going to be messy because we've got those recall beacons back in action. They're engaged, just like us. We're jumping straight into this one, Blank.
Yeah, I'm locked in. Not the tomatoes, not the onions. Stop throwing them, please. Please, I can only take so much.
He's in the stocks, bro. He's in the stocks on this.
I got put in the stock haze yesterday. It was crazy. But we're straight back into things over on Rondo here. Northern Plain Path. Should be a good one. Hopefully less of the water in this one as opposed to yesterday, because yesterday's finish was pretty insane, and I think we're theorizing behind the scenes. Probably shouldn't have been possible in the first place. I think it was fairly cruel. And there's only so much water in Rondo as well, right? You got a little bit down towards Rinjiang, and then most of it's over towards Tulingja City. We managed to head
Guys,
right there, which is very
like
unfortunate. Already though, we're getting those hot drops coming through. The three mans going up against one another, trying to get as many points as possible in the early game of Rondo.
We saw those big pickups right at the beginning of yesterday. I think it was 6 points earned off Alpha 7, right? That was pretty incredible stuff off one team to be able to extract 6 elimination points right off the bat. Was brilliant. That was R8, I believe, who were able to be the main profiteers of that one. We are going to be heading up to the northeast side on the circle as our hot drops continue to unfold. I'm sure we're going to have more than just GS and Geeke on our plates very, very shortly. But of course, remember those recall beacons. We harp on about it enough. You guys should be familiar at this stage with just how it will work. And you can see a little bit of maybe trepidation for these teams right now to kick things off.
Kind of crazy that you've got Saf from Geeke all the way up towards the northwest side of the map, south of Minhu. This is practically on the other side of the world right now to the rest of his squad. Obviously, Nerzed in the mix with the rest of them. So Ragnarok and Kevin. I think this is a pretty good mix as well in terms of firepower versus GS, but GS brought out some surprising gameplay yesterday, some pretty strong stuff. All right, Marth starting things off versus Revo with the knock, takes him down instantaneously. That's what we're talking about.
Oh yeah, looks like maybe we're on for a repeat over there. Brazilians getting bandied about. Meanwhile, APG looking to try and hold the door frame. Top can't quite land the spray. With the UMP around the corner, the step in with the micro Uzi is good, but it's going to be all right for Alpha Gaming. They are actually very, very split. They're on a four-way split. Every single one of their players dropped solo, and they will have plenty of opportunity to go for these recall beacons. But that seems an interesting choice for APG.
Yeah, it's super weird as well, considering like Alpha Gaming strategy is to drop as a 4-man on Rondo. To come to globals, it's like, well, let's drop as a 1-man. In 4 different locations, which I don't think it's ideal. I mean, all 4 of these positions are not in the circle either. So this is a complete, or say waste of time from Alpha Gaming, but it's not great. Let's put it that way. So to regroup here, you'd have to battle through R8, A7, DRX, even OG's in front of you here. Could be a bit of a menace to you. So I think that overall, this is a bit of a difficult scenario right now for APG. Not sure I'm on board with the strategy just yet. We'll have to wait and see.
The one thing I think may have happened there is that they were trying to camp multiple recall beacons, right? And I'm really giving them some slack here. I feel like it's very tenuous of a link, but yeah, it's a weird play. It's certainly not something we've seen before on Rondo, where teams are balling up for the death balls. Okay, that was first blood. I mean, that makes sense. You hit the deck, you get that M4 on board, you're going to hit those sprays all day. Looks like they do get some retribution, though. Alpha 7, back in.
Yeah, I think Obscure's been playing very well, honestly, for Alpha 7. Out of all the players as well, you sort of expected to be Revo, Carrillo pulling out that magical moments, but honestly, Obscure's been very strong, even just on the nades overall. Jafar at distance here from GS with DS3 and Icon inside the building. He seems to be dipping out a little bit here. There is one nade in the hands of Icon. Could be quite deadly versus Geeke, but this fight is massively slowed down. And again, this is towards the north side of Judena City, so they're not really towards the circle just yet either. Both teams likely would have to rotate on that north side. It is slightly weird for Geeke with SafG being over towards that northwest side, where the intention here is, I guess, not to lose the fight, but if they don't lose the fight, regrouping with SafG might be slightly rough. Let's put it that way, because they've got to push through Mad Balls. There's Deke Xavier in front of them over towards Concierge as well. So yeah, I don't know how that happens. Reefus is down from Alpha Gaming. He tried to look in on this fight, and Marth said no.
Marth's cracking on. He's having a great day so far. And R8, very happy to earn these points back. They do still need to get one of their teammates back into the fold. They did, of course, lose that one to Obscure. But Alpha 7 seem to have actually regrouped here now as well. They are all 4 players alive. He spotted an off angles there. Rizal actually landing the shots of the Marth, and there's no response. A nice little pickup. He steps through, gets the flush for Alpha 7. Another point added to the tally. But is Amori going to find that answer? Doesn't look like it. He hits the deck in time.
Yeah, it's a pretty aggressive push here coming through from Marth, honestly. And at least he does reveal the position from Guizhou as well as Carrillo, but that's about it. They do have the outpost and Prestige down towards Rinjiang, which is pretty far out from the circle, but they can pick their players up. I think right now, probably Prestige is just asking Amuri to see if he can get a knock, get a flush, and then just leave out of here. VP enters the scenario as well, as does Zjol from APG. It's a full 4-man squad now, back up and in position.
All right, okay. Aragon moving into the corner here with Voston as well. Revel has oversight. He's warned his teammate. He's not going to be able to do too much more. Carrillo, though, able to find Aragon on the first. Step into the bathroom for a heal as well. Another APG player goes down, but it seems like that's just par for the course at this stage. They are just adding points to everyone else's tallies at the start of this game. Alpha 7 popping off, though, and keeping things going. Carrillo on the corner, an indomitable Fortress, keeping Virtus.pro's duo at bay.
I think the thing is here is that at least Joel gets information there's two teams in this area, and then they all regroup down towards Yulin. So they could push north and hold out both these squads if they wanted to. Virtus.pro's got a similar situation where they got an outpost over towards Stadium that they can refresh their players from. But Alpha 7 definitely weathered the storm there. It was not easy versus R8 in particular, but R8 also back up to 4 players. And Murray, though, looking for a little bit more. Doesn't quite find it. Carrillo hits the deck, but will get rezzed fairly quickly afterwards. Let's take a look at what's happening over towards the circle on the northeast side. Great start from Thunder Talk on a 2-2 split, which they quickly regroup towards a central position. They're holding high ground with Sai Ting, as well as Sing towards the lower end of things, just providing scouting capabilities towards that southern side.
That river that sits in the middle of this circle, Blank, has some really difficult crossing points. I mean, we saw just how treacherous those riverbanks can be yesterday on our Rondo game, but in general, there's not the easiest time where maybe on a map like Erangel, when you're crossing that central river, the riverbanks are a little bit more forgiving. I feel like there's a lot of verticality on the Rondo riverbanks. There are obviously some places where you can get across, and obviously those bridges will be an option, but it's going to be pretty tricky for teams who haven't already made it to go straight through. So I'm expecting quite a lot of wide wraps from teams on the southwest.
Yeah, I think getting over towards Ryan is probably the best idea, and then you can wrap down towards DRX's position, potentially take some high ground for yourself. But it does depend on this next circle, right? Because if it does shift down towards the southwest here, like you're looking at Test Track, you're looking over towards that hillside in the west, but it doesn't happen. We head over towards Hua-Sing. I think that this is actually fairly rough in terms of position of play. And GS, though, still going strong versus Geek here. This fight has raged on for quite some time.
It shows no signs of slowing either. D3S wants to hop out with the auto shot.
Wow.
Doesn't find the first, the second, not so lucky, but there is still that trade around corner. Actually, only one player now remaining for Geek, I think. No, for GS, just Jafar. He's been in these spots before. We saw it against APG down in the C block fight that we saw in match 2 yesterday. And now he needs to find Kevin on the corner. The recall beacon just outside is beckoning, but he needs to get through this hurdle first. Kevin's running low on ammo, but he has got the other weapon in the back pocket.
Nice.
Jafar handles him low, not even going to be able to loose a shot his way.
Yeah, that was a fantastic play there from Jafar. Some great baiting as well. I mean, both players had 0 meds to work with, and they would have heard each other using them. So Jafar just baits out the scenario, waiting for that desperation play. He has a full sweep on the edge as well, where he can swing wide. So it's really, really smart maneuvers. Wolves here going up against Regnum Kaya. Now, there's a lot of talk about Regnum Kaya's day yesterday, which, as we all know, was pretty poor. I think losing a player pretty much in the early moments of the map each time definitely hurt them, right? They were playing as a 3-man, multiple maps, and they just couldn't get much done from there. But Regnum Kai usually uses that day 1 as a big study day, though I was a little disappointed in the performance that they put up. I thought they'd get a little bit more than 19 points overall, but already Rondo starts fairly decently in a strong central position as well.
I'm liking the little pop-ups on the tower graphic on the right-hand side. I don't know if you've clocked it, guys at home, but if a recall does happen, we saw it just on the Wolves tab there. It will show who has been pulled back up and when it will happen. A little gold flash appears on the right-hand side of your screen. So if you're watching and we're not on board with your favorite team and they're looking to get a recall on board, that's how you can keep track of it. You'll see exactly when it happens, so you're nice and up-to-date with everything.
Igor just going over towards E Arena right now. Joker was pulled out yesterday for NC2. Learned his lesson, apparently. Come back into today looking a lot more fresh. Get the initial pick off there onto Wolves. I mean, E-Arena didn't play terribly yesterday. I just don't think that they had these massive moments. They were consistently towards like those later portions of the game, but I think it's mistakes like this, right? I think they get step 1, step 2 correct, and then step 3 is where they fall short. I think that when it comes to thinking ahead, they don't really have that right now. Where they make this push, you're playing on the hillside, you're not worried about the backside angle. Again, in a global lobby, you have to worry about that. It's imperative that you worry about that.
Ooh, Circle pops down towards the south, gives a little bit of a favor to Regnum Kaya potentially. Orangutan on that southwest side as well. Looking at the teams on the south, though, it's a bit of a difficult run up here for teams like Alpha Gaming, who have got all 4 of their players alive. They did manage to get those recalls on board. And E-Arena, who are moving very, very close. It's going to be pretty stacked up on this south edge with Kara as well, maybe poking their noses in, and a few teams yet to move as well.
It's been an incredibly odd start for Alpha Gaming. I think that it's hard to say whether it was the correct decision or not. Personally, I don't think it was the initial 4-man split. Like you said, I think you were giving them a lot of credit for what they were attempting to achieve, but I think that that's more coming from the fact that they had such a bad day yesterday. They were feeling very worried coming into today. And then this first 12 minutes has just been about getting a 4-man towards that late game, which is where typically Alpha Gaming does shine, is if they have a 4-man towards that 18-minute mark, they're very good at sweeping. But we just haven't seen that because they've been torn apart by teams like OG yesterday in that final match. I don't think that APG is feeling very confident coming into this day. And unless we get something insane over the next 3 games, I'm not even thinking that APG gets into top 7.
Yeah, gonna have a tough time of it for sure. We'll see if they can bring something to bear in these next 2 days. DXavier, they've spotted at least one of the players from Alpha 7. This is up on the north side, Blank, coming down from around Heme Town on that north east side of things. Alpha 7 struggling to get through. They got the Mad Bulls ahead of them as well. Not only are DXavier going to be harrying them as they try and move forwards, but they're going to have to deal with that too. The recall beacons not long in this game, so opportunities starting to dwindle to get yourself back up to 4 players.
Yeah, we are really lacking on those recall beacons. The only one still available is probably in Alpha 7's camp over towards Muhapan. I think that potentially Korea is able to pop that one off, but Mad Bulls is set up on a lineup right now. Takes down Guizao and Obscure, so leaving just Korea at the recall beacon to get the rest of his team up. But they will be dropping in with limited supplies. I'm kind of concerned right now for them. 5 elims on the game. It's not terrible. It's not great either, though.
See those recalls popping up there. Wolves moving through as Ulf managed to get into this position nice and early on the plateau, but will they be able to hold it? The first is good. A double spray down across the way. No, it's a 1-for-1 trade, but Ketch is able to find another. Coops goes down. They lose one on the off angle here. Scarface has been knocked, but the Wolves are no more. Taken away on the approach. You can't get up the top there. Ulf able to beat out the Wolves on that hold.
So funny, it's the 2 Wolves logos going at it with one another. You know, the 2 packs are scrapping in the meantime. Though I think that Max brings up a really good point on the desk, is that the Ulf does feel very weird right now to me. Rondo actually was one of their best maps that they played. They were fantastic at it overall. And I think for Ulf, there is this issue that I think it is confidence based, because they went from being kind of lackluster when they were playing under the name of Fireflux to suddenly this whole new team with Eren on board, with Matcat out, and then coming to Globals, I was just concerned because I was like, well, this is not the Ulf I'm used to seeing, with just incredible long-range control, and especially having such a good time on Rondo. Just was not meant to be yesterday. We'll see if they can pick up that performance.
Ooh, the Garden's not playing well for DRX. They have a lot of people trying to move into the area. Alpha Gaming actually fairly successfully taking a decent chunk of it. A big nade comes through from Reefers as well. That's going to find 2 of them, just leaving So Easy down on his last legs here. Last player to stand, and his bridge position fairly known. Look at the ground that Alpha Gaming have been able to achieve. I mean, fair enough, you know, to be able to salvage something like that. From a game that started the way it did for them. And with 2 elims, they do have a lot of teams that can crest over the ridgelines, take shots at them. The question is, will teams want to do that?
recentering up on the circle a little bit now. I mean, Mad Bull's on the northern side. It's not a terrible spot for them, but they are a little bit exposed right now. Regnum Kari playing things slightly slower over towards the western edge. You can see here already a nade goes through, able to find good damage over towards Tulika. Likely a knock and a flush comes through off the back of that one. But Tulika is just crawling backwards as fast as he possibly can. OG playing things out smart down towards the southwest side, just biding their time, and I think that's fair enough considering your VP ahead of you. They can try and cut out any control on the south side. There's no reason to move right now.
Kara. And they were on the east side. We saw them trying to crest that ridgeline over towards the Alpha Gaming position in the center of the gardens. And now they're going to have to move off of that hilltop. You can see Poser poking his nose in, trying to establish some kind of inroads for them. I think it may just be a crash onto Alpha Gaming spot, but GS are going to move in parallel to that. It's going to be messy in the middle there. A difficult time, I'm sure. DX Xavier, they've moved in from the north side. The Mad Bulls have been leapfrogging with them, and Paragin will be the player to go down, but there's an answer, and it's Regnum Kaya to third party out to the west.
Fair enough as well. I mean, Regnum Kaya able to gain a lot of control over that northwest side. Mad Bulls continuing to take damage. Loxy finishing off some of the final players there from Mad Bulls. Just one last left alive now in Pusher, who is hiding in a field of Doritos.
Oh dear. I've had dreams like that, I'm pretty sure. The Xavier, though, a bit of a nightmare. With the nades bombarding them behind the tree trunks, but fortunately they're just stepping into the cover at the right time as the trucks to be excavated beneath their feet. Mad Bull's putting them in the ditch.
I mean, I don't know how long Mad Bull survives here. I mean, they've smoked out as much as possible, but even so, that's a little bit tough. Now we're looking over towards our final circles. With Ulf playing this high ground, I think they have a great chance at this game. There is equally E-Arena, who needs to do a lot of work now to control over towards that northeast side. OG continues to put presence over towards the northern edge. I think they understand that Regnum Kaya right now is probably their biggest threat, and Silas is continuing to poke over that way and see what they can find off the back of this. He is recalling the rest of the team now down this way. They have the high ground advantage. OG initially taking shots over towards R8 though on that southeast side and get caught off guard by Regnum Kaya. There are shots coming through.
And there's the trade. Loxy looks for a second and finds it. The backline now down to one. Just a tanky there, looking for the shots, and does manage to clock Silas. Looking for now Loxy getting backed off the angle. Only one player now as the flushes are confirmed for Regnum Kaya. Silas unlikely to get rezzed here, Blank. I mean, they could put him in a vehicle and see if he can get on forwards, drive him on in, but I think it might be more worthwhile to just send your 3 players away, not try and spend that time, because look at this approach. I mean, the tanky's managed to make it to a rock miraculously here for Orangutan. See if he could survive and out for the final moments. We know they are able to do it. They've got it in the tank. Let's see if they can do it this time.
Yeah, trying to survive on that side of the map. Slightly underneath Ulf, though, so a little bit of a dangerous position for them, but I don't think Ulf is too preoccupied with that right now. They're looking over towards Mad Balls and making sure they hold out VP in the process. So it's a good play from a tanky. It is a little bit of a risky one, but if it pays off, then he's able to get quite far into this game, which is nice to see. Regnum Kaya, though, that is a decent start for them. Up to 27 points now. So already 8 points on the game here on Rondo, which is massive news for Regnum Kaya. Starting to catch up to teams at the middle of the pack. And a nice start to the beginning of the day is really huge for a team that struggled yesterday.
That's what you need to be able to find as well at this global level. Finding that resurgence after a bad day, very, very important. Although sometimes you don't have that opportunity, especially when it gets to the smaller numbers of days, smaller numbers of matches that you're going to be playing. For now, though, Thunder Talk, I mean, we saw how much work they were able to do yesterday, right? Getting so many points and getting so close to what we expect the bubble to be already in just one of their 3 days.
Nice
is a beautiful turn up. Silas was picked up, but maybe not for too much longer as he's crawling back behind the deployable cover there, looking for another res. They are in this zone. Virtus.pro might try and put them out of it, though.
You can see their VP looking to try and push further up. These nades are getting very close. There's a good chunk of damage. I think that Regnum Guy is kind of lucky that they don't lose too much damage on their side, because the nades seem to stop a little bit from VP. They want to hold them out for a little bit later in the game there. There's no real chance of getting too much more utility going forward. So you got to be a bit conservative now going into these final moments. Good shot over towards Ulf as well from Regnum Guy in the midst of all that, by the way. I don't know where that came from.
Silas very close to bleeding out here. Might in fact get flushed. I think he does. Oh, I think, has he gone down? I think he's down entirely there, Blank. It's going to be very close to the wire. Might be just about getting rezzed. Can't quite make it out on the screen there, but that's a nasty little turn up. And I think it was actually R8 who did a chunk of damage from that off angle to be able to seal his fate. Oh no, I'm seeing 4 players alive around Gauntlet. Maybe the res was there after all.
Yeah, it did come through. Tanky, though, knows this location. Looks to send some nades over the top. It's a pretty nadeable position, but he has limited sightlines on this with the rock in front of him. But a great nade over the top will take down one player from R8 there. With limited vision as well. It's a great arc on that one.
Brilliant little find, but will he have drawn the ire of too many around him? Mad Bulls feeling the burn as Regnum Kaya roll them down. 2 players fall, and that will be them done and dusted for the match. Regnum Kaya seem to be on the warpath here. 8 elims already. Let's see how much further they can go.
Yeah, I think for Regnum Kaya as well, it's important to consider that when they were playing on this northwest side, they would continue to get knowledge, to get information. Silas is great at that type of thing, alongside with Wild, where they were consistently wrapping out in the vehicles. So they knew sort of what was going on up here. They knew Mad Bulls were a much weakened team, so they wrap upwards. They don't really want to get stuck in that situation alongside with VP, but a nice nade from Soez over towards Thunder Talk will take down at least one. Doesn't quite have the angle yet to confirm onto it, but I don't think Thunder Talk really have too many options here.
Yeah, really don't. They're starting to run out. Barrel getting a little dry now. Sighting wants to peek over the top, but you know how dangerous the hump of this bridge is. We'll see if it's so easy. He's going to be able to do it though. Not quite connected through the smoke. 2 players run around behind, and a nice little flex out for Thunder Talk. Will anybody spot it? Regnum Kaya will have heard the shots. They'll be looking. You can guarantee that much. We'll see if they're able to find it. Doesn't look like they will. Maybe a little bit of time for Thunder Talk to play with. Amori now, the last player for R8. Joker steps up. He's not going to find it. Another player goes down. A Sakura falls. Tony K as well. This hold has just been a blast. A little assist from Ulf on the off angle. But how has he survived that? What a hold on the inside. Don't think he's going to last too much longer, but that is a great little clip for him.
Having a Murray in the wreckage of broken vehicles, but sharp as the scrap metal around him, looks to put a little bit more damage on. Quick Molotov over towards Joker to try and confirm the elimination point and get some more underneath the belt. Has a little bit more to work with. Smokes out front side. Can't believe a Murray lives through that. Moment off in the distance as well. Not likely to even try and attempt to get near him. Throws out another Molotov, and that should do the trick. I don't think he got the flush over towards that player, so he's looking to confirm it, but he's already gone.
He's not there. No more. Not a morsel. Don't worry though. Surviving. Next to a tanky for Orangutan. Both of them hunkering down, trying to lock it in for their teams. Get a couple of placement points on board, because we are now into placement point territory. See if Ulf can survive on this push. They were able to defend against the Wolves. But Regnum Kaya might be too tall an order. They've already found a knock. A north side shift does keep a tanky in, but you can imagine that APG are going to be trying to bear down upon him. Amori already feeling the brunt of it.
I mean, Alpha Gaming, this is what we're talking about. Get them into a 4-man position towards the end of the game. That's where they can start sweeping a little bit, but there is consistent angles that are being available here. It's such a rough scenery to play in, where any little mistake in terms of sightlines that you leave capable for yourself, you're going to take damage from. Regnum Kaya continues on their mission to take down the entirety of the northern hemisphere of this circle, and doing fantastically at it. They've already put in a lot of damage over towards Ulf and probably limited a lot of the supplies, but now VP makes their wrap up over towards that north side, and Regnum Kaya instantly is responding.
They're moving back on over. They sent a lot of their players out to that east. Virtus.pro read that quite nicely. Thunder Talker actually managed to get a full reset here. Tanky finally may actually have to stand up and take a fight, but the nade is just too strong. Doc had the run out as well, and it will be the end. 6th place locked in. One Elim for Orangutan there. And they will not be able to survive into the later portions of this game. Thunder Talk making the cross. And they will be able to do so with 2 players. They still got a backstop to deal with, and a player knocked as well. That just came through as a res, so they're up as 4 once more. But can the other 2 rejoin?
This is great damage coverage coming through from Sing right now. They have to drop down the tactical covers, try and keep themselves up, but a double in the back line will take down 2. Sing walks straight past the nade there, takes it on the shoulder, and Doc now has to do the impossible.
With only 1 player standing, Doc needs to come up big for them to survive for a longer into this match. Another nade, but on top, it's going to keep the pressure on, but the res is going through all this while. In the meantime, over on the northwest side, Virtus.pro and Regnum Kaya starting to pop off, and it's Regnum Kaya to hold their nerve. Only 1 knock seen, and nobody's in a position to capitalize, because Ulf are more preoccupied on the southeast edge, looking towards Thunder Talk. As APG fall as well. That is going to be them done and dusted. Regnum Kaya on the north edge, looking to try and get the reset, but there are still shots flying their way.
I mean, for Regnum Kaya, though, it has been a hell of a day for them already. Loxy does go down as he attempted to move further up. This is great management and good control from Ulf right now between 2 separate squads. They had the higher ground. They're trying to work with it. Smokes are flowing through right now, but you can see 0 nades on the cards for the boys on Regnum Kaya on the top of your screen. But I think that may be a lie. I'm not sure.
Well, done well. We'll have to wait and see if they're able to loose any. Certainly would be a great boon to them.
Ulf's got nothing.
Ulf are completely barren on the old supply cupboard there. Regnum Kaya actually able to clock a shot over towards King, keeping Ulf safe. Scarface might have gone down there with just a little moment longer on that spray from King, but he is denied. Regnum Kaya able to save him. Scarface back up with that first aid kit.
I mean, for Ulf, they are definitely struggling in terms of utility, in terms of gear. Scarface playing this close as well is dangerous, but it's necessary. Has to be done to keep Regnum Kaya at bay in the coming future. I mean, Thunder Talk off an insane day yesterday, a pretty difficult crossing for them. I think the most surprising thing about this game is Thunder Talk being on 4 players at this stage of the game. I think they must have been knocked multiple times. And I don't think once used the recall beacon during this match, which is even more impressive. So I think this has been fantastic from Thunder Talk. Now it's a question of whether they can actually close out the game, or will Regnum Kaya sweep through with their 3 players, because crossing this open ground is very difficult. But Thunder Talks have 13 nades to do it, but no smokes, which is the critical factor, which Regnum Kaya, they've got all of them.
They've been ordering them. It's all or nothing. Ulf have found a nade from somewhere. They've been able to pick one up from a box, but catch. He's going to be dropped down by King, and the 4 players from Thunder Talk trying to take down the off angles from Ulf as Silas actually gets spotted. Scarface. He would have gone down if they hadn't have taken King out on that spray. Oh, they're regretting that decision now. Thunder Talk, though, mounting the pressure. Regnum Kai, I think they were up on 12 elims. We'll see if they can get a couple more, because Eren not going to be able to defend in the face of the onslaught from Thunder Talk. Zedwolf breaking out wide, and the 2-piece here for Regnum Kaya needs to be impeccable.
I mean, I don't think it's possible. With all these nades available for Thunder Talk, it is going to be so difficult. You know generally where they're coming from. Thunder Talk looking to take yet another game in their favor. Zedwolf and Wild will have to pull out something extraordinary here if they want to win this one out, but I find it highly doubtful. Wild sending all the way on the side, but them using this little cliff towards their western edge, their advantage, and now it is Wild in this 1v4.
Oh, they isolate it. They all move up. Got 1. Wild looking for the spray. You're right. He's managed to get 2 here. Maybe able to give them the slip. This is the final zone. It closes central. Wild, if he can hold a central position for just long enough, maybe the blue zone will put too much of a hurry up on these reses. Zedwolf does get flushed away, but a 1v4, I just don't think so. Wild looks for more on the angle. King steps up for the challenge, and he's good for it. I thought he might have stepped a little bit too far there, but Regnum Kaya fall. It is Thunder Talk to get another chicken dinner. Blank, they're not satisfied with 1 day. They want 2 at the top of the tables.
I mean, it was a crazy run out from Wild, but you got to respect that Thunder Talk already had sightlines down that way. Knew the Wild probably would be rotating to get the clean lineup angle down the edge of that hillside. So really, really well done. I think Regnum Kaya can be pretty pleased that game. Not quite getting the chicken dinner does feel slightly rough, but overall, I think that was way, way better than yesterday.
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of elims for Regnum Kaya on that match as well. Able to do a lot of damage to the lobby, picking up plenty of points. They'll be happy. But Thunder Talk, I mean, that is going to put them really, really close. I mean, they're pretty close to breaking the 100-point barrier already, Blank. I mean, with the elims that they found.
Yeah, I think they are done at this point. It's very unlikely they don't make it into the top 7 going forward. But I also think at this point, it's likely that they'll be making up towards first place if they keep playing like this. Let's head back over to the desk.
Thunder Talk get their 3rd chicken dinner so far, and just like that, there's now 6 slots remaining to the grand finals. I'm just kidding. No, but I mean, after that performance, these guys have got to be a lock by now, Max, man, right?
Yeah, I mean, look how much of a clinic they set up at the end here. Thunder Talk have to rename officially Thunderclap. Because, oh my goodness, they're slapping the lobby around in these games. And Nipchura, you were saying it before we just came on camera here. This is a back-to-back win now we just got from Thunder Talk. And actually, on top of that, they've now officially got a win on every single battle. Got a win yesterday on Erangel, a win on Miramar on the last game, and now a Rondo chicken dinner. These guys are putting on a clinic on every one of these battlegrounds. And look at the player stats. Sitting 4 limbs, 5 limbs for King. AJ's gets 3. Jing putting up 1 elimination, still 500 damage, putting in the work, putting in the hours in this lobby. Not an easy game to Nipchura because they were fighting tooth and nail in the swamp. APG, there was DRX, there was Kara on the east, and survive. They thrive. They keep every player alive, making the Weibo might not just be the best team at all.
Absolutely. I mean, exactly what you were saying, right? We game, and you know who's gonna win this game. You know who's next. Under talk conversation all, and they just in of every fight happening them. It was such master. I mean, the nades onto AP, clearing them, getting that ridge to themselves, and then just being for the right time. The timing is impeccable with this team.
I mean, just putting on a masterclass on that edge style play, right? I mean, they were playing the edge pretty much the whole way until the end.
Really is. I mean, in particular, they out-naded Doc, which we know, Doc, the nades, that's a specialty usually, but no, they were able to actually outdo APG on that eastern ridge next to the hilltop of Ulf, and the execution from that was really good. And especially not just the execution and how they fought, I would say, Nipchura, the timing at which they left, I would say, is when all the teams were at their weakest, and it was extremely well executed from start to finish. The timing was a 10 out of.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Oh,
I want to say,
whoa,
hang on.
Wow, I didn't see that.
Whoa.
Unfortunate.
Yikes! That's a clippable moment for sure. That's going on all the platforms for sure. But yeah, I love as well the timing that we saw Regnum, as well as, I mean, VP was a really nicely played in the last moments there, where they tried to come up kind of next to Regnum and take that hillside. But Regnum specifically, the timing was so much better than yesterday. I kind of wanted to see something a little bit better from them in terms of those timings, in terms of that, you know, a little bit more direct, a little bit more aggressive in just terms of, you know, how they do things and what time they do things and waiting for the right time. Yeah. And they were delayed a little too much yesterday. Today, they were not, and look what it got them, a really good second place.
This is the Regnum Caria I expected to see entering on day one. Unfortunately, they were a little bit complacent, maybe not quite able to play their own game, but here they were able to do it because I would say the best way to describe how Regnum Karia played this game is not taking any unnecessary fights. Every they took in this Rondo match made sense, and if they won it, they gained value out of it. That fight versus Orangutan on the western side, they clear Orangutan. Guess what? They've got a great scouting spot to check into the circle what the hell is going on. After that, they're sending up north next to Ulf. They got that symbiotic relationship situation where they can hold down the fort together, and it just so perfectly for them. This is one of the best IGLs in the world. Sylat pulling the strings in the back end, and clearly so far, it gets them in the late game. I'm thinking this is the redemption arc that finally begins, Hot Jukes, for Regnum Karia.
I mean, it's about time, right? But they didn't just get to the late game. They got there with a whole bunch of eliminations right there, pulling out a dozen. We talked about how they pretty much needed to double their performance and then some at the top of the show, right, Neptura? And I mean, I don't think you could have asked for a better start, right?
No, 100% not. Such good numbers coming out of them. And
Good start for
APG as well. I had them slated to win the whole thing. Y'all didn't. It was, you know, it was on the edge. It was off in the swamp. It wasn't looking particularly good, but, you know, it wasn't a win, but they came out with a much better performance. And is it not a win? It's not a win, but it's a top 4 and a solid top 4 that sets the tone for the rest of the day. Fingers crossed.
Hey, we'll take those all day. You know what? I want to kind of go back to the start of the game, right? We did see that hot drop with Alpha 7 and our everybody, right? Are you kidding me? I mean, talk about a run for the MVP of the tournament here, Max, right?
I mean, I know why he's called sitting. He's just seeing everyone like right now. Get it. You're not playing this game. The guy is an absolute beast. And to be completely honest, when looking at players from PL that I was paying attention to, I was looking mainly for this team at, of course, you know, you got King and you got AJ. Those are the two that I'm like, okay, these guys, they can cook, they can step up, they can Yang Tashol. But here this time around, no, it clearly is sitting. And they are sitting pretty. 100 points. And right now, I did a little bit of calculation.
Wow.
Of course, it's not great math. 120 points, you're pretty much 100% sure to go in the top 7 in the grand finals. They're already just 20 points away. What are we doing?
Wow. Yo, that's a what is that? A 59-point difference from Xavier. That is absolutely, I mean, wild. I mean, I did not expect Thunder Talk to pop off this crazy, but man, did they show up. It was good to see some other teams as well put some numbers on the board. I want to look and see a big mover and shaker. It's got to be Regnum Karia, right? I mean, where were they at the start of the day? They're in 9th place here, Neptura?
Yeah, they were 13th, I think it was. So they've really stepped up now to where they're only 5-6 points away from a top 7. So if they keep this consistency, it doesn't have to be, you know, crazy top 3s all the time. But if they keep making the extremely calculated plays that we saw in the run this game, the rest of the games are going to be so easy for them because we know what they can do. We saw glimpses of it yesterday. We've seen more of a sneak peek of it today. We just need little bit more consistency. Just bring it more and more and more because that calculation of this team is what's going to put them on the map.
Oh, looking at the player stats here, Amori destroying my initial prediction of this game of E-Arena. E-Arena sitting it 1-1, and clearly that was abused by Amori. He was able to capitalize on that mistake and able to get himself multiple 1v1 clutches for himself. So very, very well executed on his end. And looking, of course, at AJ here in terms of utility, chucking a lot of it all over the place, allowing to make those transitions happen for his team. But of course, Jing, the man himself, able to also do something similar. Team throwables used. So yeah, I mean, the utility used by Thunder Talk is the main reason why they were able to survive this entire game, right? The smokes, the grenades in particular, to zone out, for example, APG on the cliffside was just paramount for them to make that movement happen in the first place.
Yeah, it's what I love, using their nades as well towards Ulf as well, right? Because what I love is when a team understands that a nade doesn't have to do damage to be effective. It's just there to displace or to keep away. So if you're trying to zone out a team and keep them in their circle, just chuck nades at them. They won't be able to move. You're not doing any damage, but you're keeping that control. And that's what Thunder Talk seem to really understand, is that those nades, they don't have to do any damage to be effective.
I wonder, does that include emergency cover flares? I feel like it, because I do want to see emergency cover flares of Thunder Talk.
Huge.
Not the best, though. Not huge, actually. I would say they were not great. They were throwing them in positions where they really leverage much out of the item itself. I want to see them try and use it as a leapfrogging tool instead of a more defensive tool. It makes sense earlier on in the game, in the mid-game stage, but when they were pushing on Ulf, I think if they throw them forward, that transition would have been even smoother. Of course, they still won it and kept everyone alive.
They could have won better, though.
If I had to criticize one thing, it would be just that. But otherwise, the rest was just absolutely perfect from start to finish.
Yeah, I mean, there's always those little tiny little tweaks that you could make, right? And one of the tweaks that I'm really starting to get a little bit concerned about, right? I mean, right off the rip here is because when you have a team like this is what we were talking about at the start of the show, Max, right? We knew that a lot of these big names were going to perform today, right? Regnum Karia said we're doing it right off the rip, okay? For a team like OG, right, which was playing very calculated, consistently putting up points on the board, right? I think we're gonna need to see at least a couple of big games from them if we want to see them in the top 7. Do you think that that's right, or what do you think OG needs to do here?
I mean, I would agree. Orangutan, you know what I want to see from Orangutan? I want to see a bloody chicken dinner, okay?
Yes,
it's about time. They keep surviving into the late game. I think yesterday they had a bit of an issue where in the first 2 games, it was just a solo. It was AKOP and it was, who was it after that? It was Aru on the Erangel game, surviving as a solo. If we see more of that, but they survive as a trio, as a full squad, there's definitely a win potential there for me to see coming out from Orangutan. So Niptura, do we think we're going to see an OG win?
To the end game when they go, this is our position, we're going to set it up like this, and also we're going to back it up with some shots. It doesn't have to be elims, but I want to see more presence from him in the end game because the setup is good, but they're just falling down on converting anything into a, oi, stay away.
Yeah, I do feel bad for OG though, because that play of Regnum Karia was just beautifully executed. So it's really hard to fight back in that kind of situation. But actually, just to go on another team I want to see some improvements from, I'm going to go on DRX, and I'm going to blame Marzi in particular, okay? If you're listening to this, I know he's doing a watch party. Why did you pick DRX, okay? He is the true boss master in India. And DRX, genuinely, one of my favorite teams. For me, there was no doubt in my mind DRX were going to have a banging performance in the Gauntlet and instantly make it to the finals, but no. They started off the day in 11th position, and I believe now they're in 15th after this first rondo.
Yeah.
DRX, we're almost at the halfway point, Hot Jukes. We need to see more from DRX. They've done nothing so far.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the thing is, this is my concern, right? Is that with so many big names on the second half of the leaderboards, if any of these teams like DRX do what we just saw Regnum Karia did, right? 18 points, they're in the running for top 7, right? So I think for a team like DRX, though, hey, get it done now. You know what I'm saying? You do not want to wait till the last is for sure. So for DRX, so many of these squads, I think the pressure is on big time here, Niptera, to perform right here, right now.
100%, because we're getting closer now. It's game 2 after game 3 way done, and that's where it's really going to start. You're going to start getting that pressure coming in. You're going to start going, we only have a set amount of games left. All of that stuff's going to start happening to you. So it really is now or never, Jukes.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. You know, I'm kind of going to go on the other side of that point you were talking about earlier. You know, when it comes to OG, right? I think that their performance is very impressive for a squad that it's their first PMGC. You know, I think they've done a lot to be in the position they're in. You know, I think that getting a chicken dinner right now, from what I've seen so far, is going to really depend on them getting a circle position, right? If they're in a dominant hill spot, they get the zone locked, I think they're winning that game all day long, right? I think we're yet to see them be able to pull out a chicken dinner from what you're talking about, like from that edge style play, like we saw Thunder Talk do, right? Play edge, take out every single squad, right? Hopefully we can see them build up to that, but I think the best case scenario for OG here is if they do get that circle, they got to capitalize it like there's no tomorrow. And then hopefully just be, once they get that chicken dinner, right? Be like, we can do it, right? We've done this before. And that's something that's really hard to cross, Max, right? Because pretty much everybody in this lobby has won a chicken dinner at PMGC before, right? At least once.
They're all very experienced for sure. But Orangutan dropping in shelter, actually, you got some pretty decent rotational paths. And by the way, we're looking at them right now. These jackets from OG, like, come,
I want one.
Can we get?
I
Can we get one of those,
want one.
please? I want one of the jackets. But no, really,
Please.
Orangutan, the way they're playing, it's I'm having a Ratatouille moment where it's taking me back to the World League years and years ago. When Orange Rock were there, TSM Entity were there, popping off on the global stage. We're getting back. We're getting a taste of that once again at PMGC. So we'll see if they can perform once again. Though, I'm going to take this opportunity here, guys. The conversation onto a big talking point here. GS Team APG. It kept happening. No?
Yeah.
Going into Novo military, into Novka military base. Jafar in particular had a massive clutch at the end to wrap up versus APG. Are we going to see that continue if we have a Southern Plane?
Dude.
Or are we going to see APG maybe change things up if they are going to be clashing versus GS? What are we thinking?
Man, I hope so. I actually, no, I hope we don't, right? And the reason why is because, we saw GS hot drop right off the rip, game number 1 of Aaron Gale, right? Neptura. And then in 2 games, they didn't hot drop. And I think that was mostly to the fact that that plane path was heading more towards Severny for them, their secondary drop location. Do you think, Neptura, that because, it for them, right? I think GS did a lot better when they didn't have to do that hot drop, right? So I think maybe their coach or Neptura, you're the coach of GS, okay? Right now. Put it on the coach chat, right? If you were their coach, what would you tell them going into Aaron Gale here for
I wouldn't hot drop. I'd be like, look at the results we got as staying full squad through most of the match, getting much farther into the match as a full squad versus when we hot drop and we get some early limbs, but now we've got a really long rotation to make. So through the blue, all of this sort of stuff, everybody's already set up. That would not be my play. I'd be just like, no, you guys, we gotta switch things up, go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Max, you're the coach of APG. What would you do?
Hot drop, because I think, on a very serious note, it would be extremely funny. That's my analysis, because for the memes, go for the hot drop. But no, generally, I would like to see it not happen on a serious note, because it just doesn't help the team. So hopefully they can fix it, Hot Jukes. It's in particular APG, because they can't afford another bad day here. They need to step up. They need to make military base their own.
Let's make it happen as we take it on over to John Allen and Blank for match number 2. Well, you know what? We are gonna have a little bit of a pause here. Well, guys, it looks like we're going to wait a little bit longer here to get into the next game. So, you know what? That gives us a little bit more time, Max and Neptune, right, to get into this. I know John Allen and Blake are super excited to get this, and we will get to that next game, right? But I want to talk a little bit more about possibly some of the other hot drops we're going to deal with, Max, right? So what do you think is going to happen here in Erangel?
I mean, really, except for the APG GS team, I think hot drops were pretty clean. Nothing really happened. So I think we're chilling on that front. I think we're okay. I'm actually going to be paying attention to Virtus.pro and A7. We know they have some drops in common. They have Northern George Pole, they have Lipovka, and also VP tend to drop into Milto, which could be a clash between themselves and DRX, depending on how the drops go and how the playing goes in particular. So I'm looking at them. But Alpha 7, Nipture, I'm looking back at yesterday's Erangel games. Their rotations were so pristine, were so quick. They would get in a circle before anyone else and in really good POIs typically. So are we going to see that same Alpha 7 in these Erangel games? Because if yes, I think they're really going to solidify a high rank in the top 7.
I mean, I would love to see that for them. It's something that they're desperately needing, and I think they're going about it the right way. You're right. The timing has been pretty impeccable. They've been doing everything they need to do. They've been taking advantage of the teams they need to take advantage of. They're reading the lobby really, really well so far. That doesn't always translate into points, but what I always love seeing is a team that you can see what they're trying to do. You can see what the they've got strategy. They're not just doing it randomly, and they've got ideas. And so for a team like Alpha 7, who are obviously a very good team, but have just been struggling lately, it's nice to see that we're actually seeing a team that is like, no, we're on the ball with these rotations. We're on the ball with this timing. Yeah. It's very hopeful.
What I'm really hopeful about is not just the rotational potential of this team, right? I mean, especially for you, Hodrix, covering Americas, but it's so cool seeing the rise of Guizhou and Obscure on this storied roster, on this storied org of Alpha 7. And last game on Rondo in particular, oh my goodness, they put up such a great showing versus RA. And even I think there was a potential third party happening from APG and Virtus.pro in the wings, and they were fully ready for that. So this is Alpha 7 2.0, and I'm here for it. This storyline we're seeing built up in front of our very eyes here in the Gauntlet stage is beautiful. And this is Brazil stepping up with a new generation of top-tier players that are here to claim a trophy on the global stage.
I mean, you heard Rebel say it himself in the interview with Seven, right? He was just like, you know what? I think they already surpassed me. And it's crazy to see just how well these other players are doing, right? Just kind of looking at some of the player stats, right? Obscure, yesterday, he got 10 eliminations, 12 knocks. The player below him, Guizhou, with 5 eliminations and 4 knocks, right? Carrillo had 4, Revel had 3 eliminations, right? So Obscure more than doubled that of his second teammate, and that's Guizhou, right, Max? So I mean, Alpha 7, we know what these guys are capable of. We saw it in Airgale, right? They love that rotating to the hard shift side, kind of what we just saw Regnum Karia do in this last match, right? They did that, ended up doing that twice, got a good game under their belts. So when it comes to Alpha 7, I just think it's about just waking up on that consistency. I want to see that a little bit more aggressive Alpha 7 here, Neptura, because I see them just kind of playing a little bit more calculated rather than that hyper aggressive Alpha 7 they're kind of known for.
Exactly. And you know what? I want to extend that point to the rest of the lobby, actually, because if we look at each team individually, a lot of them, there's very few teams in this lobby that actually play compactly, that actually play very much together, you know, kind of off to their own. Many of these teams spread out and take control from the other teams. And I want to say that so far in the Gauntlet stage, we've not really seen that. None of them have been playing how I expected them to play. We're not seeing the A7 spread out into the end game, you know, 4 or 3 players and just, you know, eating up as much of that zone as possible and controlling it, taking it away from other teams. Kara are not doing it. OG are not doing it. Regnum, we only saw them kind of do it in this game. So I want to say some of that is due to everybody's kind of tiptoeing around each other just a little bit. They're still trying to get a feel for how the lobby is going to be played. But the other half is these zones. I don't feel like any of these zones have been particularly favorable to most of these teams, because even if a zone does go towards a certain team, normally it's one compound in the middle of a field and it's kind of very play. So I want to see maybe either, you know, kind of take these bad zones and run with it as much as possible, or just relax a little, just play how you normally play, because that is historically how you get a win.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Take me back to Raheem. We had a Pachinki circle finish. You know what?
Dude,
give me some of that spiciness. You know, that would be really fun if that happened. You're going to need Xavier to perform potentially. But yeah, circles have been a little bit very open-ended, I would say. They're not ending on any big POI. We didn't see that really happening yesterday, especially the one next to us ended in nothingness. And you could see the ring. I think you had Alpha 7 just like, there's literally no terrain to work with. How do we work with this kind of terrain at the end of the game? I'm hoping we do get some like more city or compound centric finishes. I think that's going to show a lot of rotational potential from teams. Who's gonna get there first? Who's gonna play defensively? Who's gonna be trying to initiate those crashes? I want to see a bit more variety on our angle, because on day one, Hodrix, I would have to say, was a bit one note to me. So I want to see more variety from some of these teams, depending on, of course, how the circle tends to go.
Yeah, I think we're going to definitely see that here in day 2. I think we did already in Rondo, right? We saw some of the squads that did underperformed yesterday go nuts. So I'm expecting just absolute craziness here in Erangel, because every team knows kind of how the end of these tournaments go, right? There's going to be quite a few squads that are going to be so far down the leaderboards that they don't have any chance of making it to the top 7 here, Max, right? So when that happens, typically the last few matches are not typical of what the whole tournament was like, right? The teams that know that they're not going to make it are playing super loose. Maybe they go crazy, start pushing everybody, or they're just like, hey, you know what? See you guys in the group stage. We'll make something happen from there, right? So I think considering that, Max, teams more than ever just realize how important it is to put points up here and now rather than waiting to the end of the game, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. It's going to be changed up quite significantly into this. But I want to go a little bit deeper on what you said about the later stages of the Gauntlet change significantly, Hodgix, because I think it brings up a very interesting scenario where, because you need to be in top 7, right? It's very forgiving if you're in, let's say, top 3 in last 2-3 games of tomorrow. Like if you're looking at Thunder Talk, Mad Balls, R8, maybe Orangutan. Are we going to see a situation, because you would be so comfortable, that you can kind of ruin the opportunity for teams down below? Yes, I am talking about potential hot drops, just as a theory. Here, just to have a conversation. Orangutan, if they're very comfortable in top 7 heading into tomorrow's last few games, and Alpha Gaming are still struggling, do you get rid of them to clear up that position for the grand finals? Technically, that wouldn't be a bad shout.
I don't think so. I don't think so, right? I mean, that's the thing.
She's so silent. She fully agrees with my point. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a hard one for me because I don't normally love that tactic. For a couple of different reasons. I don't feel like it really does all that much, because if a team is, yes, if it's like, you know, a few points away, whatever, but I don't always love it. But then we're always talking about teams that are further below trying to ruin, you know, some potential chances for teams a few places ahead of them, where here I think in this instance you're talking the other way around, right? It could work. It could, you know, just try and solidify their dominance in certain situations, right? If, like, you know, we're gonna hot drop you in Chumacera again because you're not doing well, and we want to make sure that going into the finals you're not gonna drop here again. That could be something that might be worth the effort, because otherwise I just don't really see the point.
Yeah, I'm mainly talking for the fact of clearing up a drop location for the finals. I think it's definitely a long-term incentive to do it. For example, you can also, I brought up OG and APG because it's the funny meme one to bring up right now, right? But otherwise, GS Team, I think a lot of teams want to try and get rid of them, such as maybe APG if they're able to climb up the rankings a bit. Alpha 7, Wolves want to try and get rid of them. Maybe even GK because of their Rondo drop location. Again, that's dependent on what the leaderboards look like entering into tomorrow's 6 matches. So yeah, definitely, you got to keep in mind that if you're not comfortable going into day 3, you could be in a little bit of trouble, because if you are sharing a drop location, chances are that team does not want to share it going into the finals, where again, you're fighting for the lion's share of $3 million prize pool. So I would backstab some people for that. Hell yeah. Maybe not you guys.
That's a lot of money.
You guys, you're safe.
Yeah, you know, a lot of money on the line here. And you know what's typical? You know, I honestly, this is one of my biggest pet peeves about competitive PUBG Mobile, right? Is we don't normally see squads like do these crazy drops towards the end, right? Which is what I would do, because I'm like, hey, why not, right? We got such a huge lead. We could do whatever the heck we want. But for some reason, they continue to play the kind of like the same game they've been playing, right? But one thing that I think really makes a big difference, Neptura, is if you want to take out a squad, you could just say, let's go ahead, and if we get into a fight with them early on, hey, we could just make sure they go out. We could take them out no matter what here towards the end. So I think those mid-game fights, things can get a lot spicier, Neptura.
Oh, absolutely. You know what? You want to take a team out on rotation? Absolutely. That's minimal risk to yourself and all the damage onto them. I would love something like that for that to happen.
Well, let's see what's going to happen here in match number 2. First air gale of the day. Let's take it on over to John and Blake for match number 2.
And you know what that plane means. We are heading into match 8 of our 18-match set here. And day 2 will continue to unfold. We put the recall beacons to rest. Don't worry, if you're not a fan, you're not going to be seeing them here on Erangel. We are going to be back to basics here. So APG, you can't be losing all your players right at the start of the match. That's a free bit of advice. I won't bill you for it.
Very well done. It's good advice as well. Necessary advice on a map with no recalls. But we are heading from the western side, direct south plane path from the north down towards Ferry Pier. A little bit more difficult to head over towards the eastern side of the map, but Alpha 7 getting up nice and early over towards the, I guess you could call it a slight Zaki North George split that I like to go for here. R8 also out early. R8 consistently being in the vicinity of Alpha 7. Seems like it's a bit of a grudge match going on there. And Thunder Talk dropping very, very close over towards OG on the north side.
That is potentially dangerous for OG. Thunder Talk at the top of the tables. We've seen what they can do. Although, at the moment, OG are a little bit isolated from them in Severny. It may be that Thunder Talk try and grab a vehicle, head out to the east coast here. Getting stuck into a fight in Severny this early on, without the circle being confirmed, especially now, Blank, because we've got a military circle. Yeah, immediately, there's the vehicle icon. On you go. That might mean that the hot drop on the south side might get a little bit more intense, but it is going to be a military island circle here. It's pretty much guaranteed at this point.
GS actually dropping down towards the southwest here instead of dropping on military base. So APG should have this all to themselves. Wolves, you can see here, getting themselves into vehicles and maybe moving across. But that is a heck of a lot of teams already on Sosnovka this early, sort of predicated by the fact that the playing path was so southern. And on the western side, you have to split across the entirety of the map. And that includes the South Island. So quite fortuitous for teams like EK as well as Virtus.pro, who don't normally drop down in this position. They get a really good head start, but also that makes crossing on the western side quite difficult. And I think for Wolves, this is a somewhat of, I might call it a mistake. I think they were so close towards that south side that maybe they should have shifted over towards the east, understanding that was a little bit of an easier one to go for. We do have an in-game interview coming up shortly, but in the meantime, we're going to keep focused on the map here. I think Kara makes the correct play. Currently, they're rotating on the east bridge, and I think that's the smarter play here. There's going to be a lot more space to work with going forward for themselves, rather than get themselves mixed in with Virtus.pro as well as GS.
Let's head over to the stage for an interview with Regnum Karya.
Welcome back to a quick report with the 7WG. This time I'm joined by the PMGO winner, Silas from Regnum Karya. Silas, yesterday's performance was very lackluster. What was the main thing that you guys changed from yesterday to today?
Valla bugünkü performans pek iyi değildi. Dünden bugüne ne değiştirdiniz?
Aslında gün yeni başladı. Neyin değiştiğini gün ilerledikçe göreceğiz. Rondo'yu biraz çalıştım. Bireysel olarak gezdim. O yüzden bu maçı güzel oynadık.
So it's just the starting of the day, so we will see later what we change. But I personally actually studied Rondo personally, so we will see what's going to happen.
And talking about Rondo, I mean, Thunder Talk getting their back-to-back win. They win the last game yesterday. They win this one. Is that a team that is also causing you issues, maybe going into Erangel?
Valla Rondo'da Thunder Talk güzel oynadı dün de bugün de. Sizi zorluklar çektirdi. Gelecekte çıkarabilecek mi daha?
Yani havaya alışma, ilk gün havaya alıştık diyelim. İkinci günde çok fazla, yani bugün çok zorluk çekeceğimizi sanmıyorum. Bugün daha çok alışacağız, sonraki gün daha çok alışacağız. Finale çıkarsak da tam bir şekilde hakkını vereceğiz.
Yesterday it took us to get used to the Rondo, but right now we will practice more onto it and make it better. And if we can make it to final, we will redeem it.
All right, well, I'm hoping the performance here in Erangel coming up is going to be good. Back to you guys.
Well, there you go. We heard a lot from Regnum Karya, but we heard a lot from GS in the picture-in-picture, if you guys were keeping track of that. They clean wiped Virtus.pro just then. That's pretty great. Big fan of that. And Regnum Karya, they're going to go into the drink for a swim too.
Virtus.pro going out like that, fairly unfortunate, I would say, but very, very well done. Really, really big plays there. And that clears out a lot of space for them as well on the map, especially because they were down towards Sosnovka quite early. Going down in 6th place as well gives a lot of opportunity for teams like DX, GS, Wolves to overtake them and push them out of the top 7 now going forward. In the meantime, we've Alpha 7 on a long approach from shooting range all the way down here, but so many teams already making that cross early on. Regnum Karya also making the swim, but so many vehicles will already be taken here because there were so many teams on Sosnovka early that Regnum Karya likely for the rest of the game will be moving around on foot.
Yeah, it's very picked clean. You're right. It's just the bones left on that north side of the Sosnovka Island. We'll see what they can do, though. They may be able to nab 1 or 2 if they're lucky. If they can get close enough, we'll have to wait and see. E-Arena, they're going for the bow take to the south side. This is going to potentially be uncontested here. There's no one really overlooking this beachhead on that south edge. The rear duo for E-Arena as well. They're playing very, very split. Also on a boat rotate, so they'll be joining up with their teammates fairly soon. The Wolves managed to get through nice and early onto the military island. They are just south of that observatory mountain. They've crashed into the compound on the south side, southeast point of the military island. Now, a lot of teams have made it, but there are a few who haven't. R8 actually very slow to move, and Thunder Talk as well up in Stalber. They're still looting, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, go off, Kings, I guess. It's an interesting maneuver, and you can't really fault it too much at this point in time with how they're playing. I mean, I just need to wait and see. I personally think this is a little bit late. It's very late, in fact, from Thunder Talk. And with the amount of teams that are already down on the Southern Island, I mean, getting in there at that point is going to be very difficult. I think maybe the plan is just to get as looted as possible, as much utility as possible to make that bridge crossing
guys,
doable. But I don't know. But you can see here, Regnum Kaya, as I said, no vehicles on foot, which is what we expected to happen, John, but it doesn't look fun at all. I mean, hearing a vehicle at any time and having to drop the deck here, this is some very sad gameplay where you pretty much have to hide it out as much as possible.
I mean, you've got to feel real jealous as well of teams rotating past you in vehicles. You're like, oh, man, if only we had that. We could do super well this game. And Regnum Karya looking to convert on their last match as well would be a brilliant result. As we're looking over towards those bridges. Actually, the crossings so far have been basically uncontested, Blank. I mean, it's only Virtus.pro who have gone down, but that wasn't on a crossing position. That was on just a fight for a compound once the crossing had already happened.
It was.
Only 5 teams remain to cross. That's what they're looking for at the moment. Mad Bulls, R8 off in the distance up towards South George. Alpha 7 just passing Lepovka now. Orangutan as well, getting past Prison, past Shelter and Milta. The bridge on the east side currently, I mean, it's Geeke, right, who are going to be overlooking it from that observatory mountain.
I think for Geeke, it's actually a really strong spot to be playing. We've seen multiple times multiple teams win from that position on the map. It does require you to get a bit of an eastern shift on the circle, but this is already quite eastern anyway. A lot of water off towards Novorabnoya, so it's likely this is going to cut back in towards the mainland. So there is a high chance that it ends up around Observatory in the end game. I don't mind Kara's position too much. I mean, what they're doing is essentially just holding out teams like Alpha 7 who are going to be coming in from that side. Still no sign of Thunder Talk just yet, by the way. It's still on the northern side of the map. Looks like they're bowing out this match, it seems.
You know, they've been playing so much more than everybody else at this point. You know, they needed a little break. They're making their way down from Stalber. It is still stage 2, but those crossings, I mean, especially now, you've got to wonder if Thunder Talk are going to be able to make it. That southeast coast is going to be lined with landmines for them to step on if they try and make their way in there. Wolves now in for a fight with GS potentially. GS were able to win it out against Virtus.pro. Will the Wolves, who are just behind them on the tables, be able to do what Virtus.pro could not?
I mean, for Wolves, there's, again, I think they have a similar issue to Virtus.pro where we're not seeing them respect a lot of sidelines in these matches. That's the thing that worries me, is that, yes, the gameplay is not too bad, the rotations aren't too bad, but there's a lot of these moments where they're making some careless maneuvers, which I would like to see improved overall from quite a few different teams. I mean, Alpha Gaming even falls prey to this as well, where I don't think they're respecting other teams very much at all in these matches, and I think that's what is coming back to bite them. But even that last match that we just saw in Rondo, there was a lot of good chances for them to really kick off and start having a great game. Unfortunately, because they kept taking shots, kept taking these angles which were open to the likes of Virtus.pro, open to the likes of Thunder Talk, they slowly blew out players. And I don't think that was great, because from the initial moment, you know, the 4-man split was weird. And then getting further into the game, I was like, okay, there is a 4-man. This doesn't look too bad. But yeah, it ended up being quite disappointing, honestly. But we'll wait and see. I mean, they get to start in the melee base this time. No contest, other than Regnum Karya, I guess, who are hiding over on that north side, just trying to live this game out as long as possible. Mainly trying to find some set of wheels, basically, Joe.
That is kind of the name of the game for Regnum Karya right now. If they could pinch one, I'm sure that Alpha Gaming have on board, that would be brilliant, but position being known there. We've seen this from Alpha 7 in the past, Blank. They've taken to the skies. They are going to be heading over in the glider around on the east point here of Novo, trying to stay out of render distance of everybody else. Looks like they will be able to for just a little bit longer. Very dangerous place to land, though, because Kara have outposts all over. You've
No,
got to
the
think
Kara
they're
আছে।
going to spot this. And if they don't, somebody else will.
I mean, Kara absolutely should be able to look at this one, but you can also see that Alpha 7 is currently trying to play out a render distance as much as possible here. You can see that Obscure and Guizao is going very, very wide here, down towards the south side. I think they're trying to look for a point where they can make their way in, but the amount of teams that are littered along the southern coast, I think it's going to be hard to find a runway and land here. I think most likely it's going to be a crash landing from Alpha 7 in the near future.
I mean, you just don't expect the north side of Novo to be open, right? Like, it should be landing there if you have a map feed up like we do, but that's really difficult to call. The swim as well for Revo and Carrillo, that might draw the attention of Kara. It could prompt a little relocation, but Alpha 7, I mean, I'm seeing them approach from the south side in that glider. Wolves are going to take shots. GS are going to take shots. This is going to get nasty.
Yeah, it's always an interesting thing watching like high-level gameplay at an international scale, because everyone has the same idea. I mean, they were able to get up. Igor's only have the pump shotgun, gets a little bit of damage done, but there isn't any backup right now, which is not ideal. Luckily able to find one with the angle off on the side from Coops, and that's Revo going down. Now just Obscure remaining as they all crash into this one. This should be a quick cleanup for them. But yeah, I think that it's an interesting looking at an international level. Everyone has the exact same idea, is that the south side is where most teams are going to make their cheeky rotate through. So everyone litters down there because they all assuming that each other are going to make that same maneuver. The only team that actually falls prey to it is Alpha 7, but alas, they were coming in from a long, long way away. Again, no sign of Thunder Talk just yet. They're still traveling like Frodo Baggins right now on their way to Sosnovka.
There and back again. Goodness me. They are really going to have to get in fairly soon, because it's getting to be the blue zone's going to hurt a lot. They started obviously in Stalber. They were slowly rotating down. Also, R8 was struggling to make their way on through as Alpha Gaming seemed to have spotted Regnum Kaya making their way on foot. And unfortunately, I think Regnum Kaya, they've lost a player there. Far from ideal. And they'll be playing on as 3. Still fairly split and still very, very slow.
Yeah, I think for Regnum Kai, it's a rough one. I mean, I think what you have to do there is commit a little bit earlier to an eastern crossing. I don't think that the swim is that bad, but under the assumption the circle is so far off towards that east side that it's likely going to center up on observatory, which it is currently doing, by the way. So we were correct in that assessment. I think that you have to risk the eastern crossing as opposed to trying to play on the beachhead and the three building compounds around that area. I think that's what Regnum Kari are trying to go for. It's a very European approach, I'll say it that way. But I think in this instance, it's not correct.
Yeah, maybe different decisions to be made in the future, but military circles always fun.
Oh my god!
GK getting the shift. Oh,
there they are.
I think I've spotted what you've noticed. They're on the map blank. It's Thunder Talk on the North Bridge, and Orangutan are going to be holding them out. The circle goes still towards GK's favor on that observatory mountain. Let's take a look at this bridge camp, because the health bars on Thunder Talk are going to be low here. They step out, and immediately the first goes. The next as well, looking for the spray down. The backup from across the way as well is good. 2 players now stand for Thunder Talk, and the blue zone is hurting.
I think the craziest thing about this is that OG expects the team to be rotating at stage 4 into the circle on the eastern side. I mean, it's a great pickup. It really, really is. But fantastically done. I mean, Aru's on the ball here, waiting for Thunder Talk to approach, and that is the top squad going down to 1 player from OG. Very, very well played. And now they can figure out how they want to move down, because you'd assume at this point for OG that there isn't going to be another team tailing Thunder Talk. If they were, it's likely Thunder Talk would have had to have fought a little bit earlier out on the coastal side, in which case OG would have heard it. So this is great in terms for OG for clearing that northern edge, understanding that now they can push south without worrying about their 180. So very smart.
They managed to take 2 players down, but there is still a little bit of life in Thunder Talk, and you can't count them out. A big flex out came through from Orangutan, from OG, both sides, WizGod and Atanki, moving into position to try and pick up the scraps on the last 2 players. They couldn't find the angle. Thunder Talk able to keep it under control for their final 2 players. And this is so open because of all of the teams moving to that south side. It's what you were talking about earlier. Because of the teams all putting pressure down south, that ability to move is what OG have capitalized on there well on that north side. Now, on the south side, though, it's going to get mucky because the Wolves have to leave the cliff side. They're moving off, and they've already been slowed down. They've lost Batten. Doran needs a res. Coops is pulling him back to his feet, and you can't spend too long out here. The blue zone really starting to hurt now.
Yeah, basically instantly have to get that bandage off. And I think for Wolves, it's pretty much over. I think Kara set up a really, really nice lineup here across the hillside. I think that Wolves is pretty much gone. Egos is likely to go down as well. At this point, Kaidu, it's one of the situations where do you just deny the point? Lewis picks up Doran. And now Thunder Talk with their two players look to put a little bit more hurt over towards OG. But I don't think that's happening.
Last done.
Spray down, King spotted. And Atanki able to clock the shot. AJ last to stand, and OG have only got one more domino to fall to take down the top dogs. Spray around the corner, not quite fully connecting, but it's going to do enough, and it will be closed down. The roll down on the crates as well. OG want the spoils of victory. Pulling that into the back pocket. They'll clean out the north side.
Yeah, that's clean. Very, very clean. So now OG has a huge amount of control over the north. Doc moves up, does get shut down by Mad Bulls, but R8 is still having presence within this engagement. Reefus seems to be the last player alive here for APG. The DPS should do the trick as Lemon weaves in and out of the blue there. But now R8 look to weave a very different picture for Mad Bulls, one of dread and ruin as they move over the hillside.
Trying to push in on the western edge. The route out of that military base is treacherous. R8, they're going to fold back, look to res Marth. Mad Bulls disengage. They're sending across, heading towards DRX and the remnants of DX Savior as well, closer towards the middle. We're not going towards the mountaintop this time around, Blank, though. It is going to go down south towards GS and towards this ridgeline that we're seeing being fought over fraughtly by Kara, who are keeping their nerves together here. 7 elims already.
It's definitely not easy for Kara, the movements they've had to make, the decisions they've had to go through, but they've done well. I mean, Ulf is definitely their biggest target in the future over on that eastern side, but even they are sort of held out by the angles from Geeke. Now, the circle does move away from Geeke on that observatory, so they need to find as much information as possible, decide where they're going to end up in the future, because they have to move now, and it's always difficult getting off from the top of observatory. Mad Bulls somehow stay alive with their two players, get to the south side of this compound that currently DRX are holding, and I think for DRX, a lot of fans are hoping they do well in this game because it has been a pretty abysmal start from yesterday for DRX. A lot of games where they're just not able to get through that mid game whatsoever, and I think that has been the most worrying thing from watching them is that mid game. It's just a lack of life from that squad.
Getting through that mid game, always treacherous, and it's where you earn the majority of your points on the tables, right? It's getting past those mid game situations that starts to earn you those incremental 4-5 extra points that you need per match to really sit up and amongst the top dogs. DX Xavier trying to hold a sliver of a ridgeline. You can see there's players above them as well from Ulf. That is a really tough spot, but I think DX Xavier are going to be safe for quite a while. Geeke actually more likely to pull the trigger in a fight here.
By topic
I mean, Geeke needs to find something. I mean, down towards Ulf is likely their best bet, right? They can still play high ground the angle and then try and sweep down towards that south side. OG has met little resistance, and DRX actually moves off from that northern position on the compound as OG appears. So this is a very, very sneaky moment from OG to be able to get into the circle and then find themselves a strong position off the back of that as well. The question is whether R8's been watching this rotate and if they'll be able to find some shots over towards them. But again, so far it has been some fairly well calculated decisions from OG.
I wonder if Ragnarok thinks he's cleared that angle there against Sakura. They had a good old look there, spotted the horse, but didn't see a leg, didn't see an ankle or anything peeking out. Geeke, they got to take shots over towards Ulf and back them off the angle. Actually, Ulf putting more pressure in towards the middle. Nice stuff, nice find, but that could all come a cropper if GS takes shots out their way, if Ragnarok has his say as well.
I'm very impressed that it's actually not R8 that takes shots over towards OG. It's OG taking shots to R8, actually finding a Mori here, and they don't have a lot of time to pick him up because the circle is enclosing. Now R8's put in a very, very difficult position where OG knows at least 2 players are on that northwest side.
Rotate out. Wiz got it. Oh, I thought he was sending it there. I think he was breaking out. 2 of them trying to flex through. R8 looking for that regroup, and they find it. They manage to pull themselves back up, grab in the vehicle, not go for the res out wide. Instead, use that little defilade that they've now been able to claim. Prestige backing out as well. Back up to that high ground. Wants the long-range oversight, but will have to move back in with this circle shift. Ulf as well, putting pressure in. A potential scout towards GS. Ketch will get that info back to his team.
And for Regnum Kari, you've been able to get quite far into this match. I mean, only have 1 player left remaining, and that's Wild, but Wild is typically the lone survivor for the squad. OG really taking good use of this hovercraft. No one's really looked at them, so they're having this hovercraft far into the late game is really quite a big deal. Nade's starting to pour out over the top now. A little bit of damage surely should be done, but the nades just bounce a little bit too far. Nade swings back down the top side, dribbles down just a little bit. Another one goes through. More damage on towards OG now. 1 player fairly low in Aru. And R8 can maybe leverage this, but a good off angle right now from OG is keeping them at bay.
Oh, another nade, another knock. There's no punishment really being seen in return. Finally, Marth goes down. There was a third party as well, I think, from Geeke on the high ground to take a shot over towards one of the players from OG who has now been flushed away. Trying to flex out. This is where the off angle from Prestige really needs to come in clutch, stopping this fight. The smoke's over the ridgeline. They want to keep this momentum going, but R8 back off the angle. The nade's not quite connecting where they need to. Marth potentially? No, it goes too long. The cook not quite right there, but that one's good. A tanky sends it back his way. And Aru again, so low, but not going down just yet.
That is a cracking grenade from Amori over the top towards WizGod, who's trying to get that off angle towards them. They've laid the smokes down, trying to keep R8 back at this point in time, give them the heavy hand. But right now, it's just not working out, and WizGod likely to go down. Finally, Prestige enters the fray.
Moves in from that off angle. That might actually give OG an opportunity here, but another flush comes through, and R8 now into a 2 versus 4 in their favor. A tanky needs something big, but he only gets 1. There is no answer from the backline, unfortunately. Aru out in the open, caught with his trousers down there, and R8 are going to send them away. 5 elims, though, on the game, Blank. That's a pretty good result.
Yeah, it's not bad. Gets them back up towards 4th place now, and there really isn't anyone chasing them too hard on the tables. Alpha 7 went down as a VP as well as Wolves earlier on, but there is now teams like trying to make up points with this massive point vacuum at the top from Thundertalk. You're going to start to see these things get very messy towards that top 7 towards the end of today. Ida finding Solus as well, so R8 not done quite yet.
They want a little bit more. Up on the 70-point tallies, we're talking a lot about Thundertalk's security in towards those finals, but over those 70-point margins, that's also looking pretty safe, Blank, all things considered. They've done a lot of work, and they've put in the effort. And at the moment, they're way over the average that they need to be able to see themselves toward those finals. Kara, got 8 elims so far this match, and they want more too. Marceau hops out, looks for the flush, confirms that one, locks it into the bank. As DXavier hold their divot, they've been in there for a long, long time. And actually, Geeke going down. Okay, the descent from the mountaintop, not going to pan out.
I mean, Kara's played this game phenomenally well. I think that's, you can't deny that from Kara. From their initial hold towards Novorabnoya and then the slow sweep down towards the south side. It has been a real patience game for them and at times really tough, but they've done well off the back of it. Lewis finding catch now as well from Ulf as R8 looks to assault that position. They really only have one option here, which is to try and send down to the rocky outcrop on this south side before they head over towards DRX. DRX has had a bit of circle look. And no one really has had a shout in, but similarly DRX hasn't really found any points from this position whatsoever. Likely the thing is that if they go down in 2nd place, this game will not be as profitable as most would think. They sort of need to finish this game out with a chicken dinner if they want to have a decent performance off the back of this one. Otherwise it is just sort of another meh game back in their pocket.
I mean, he's got 3 more nades, but finally someone takes a look out his way. And that is going to be the shutdown. And DXavier will fall finally. 5 teams now remaining, Blank. And DRX with this center position. Kara, they've moved 2 players up here. They'll need to regroup back down to their bottom side too. and push in a little bit closer. They might be able to hold the top of the rock for a little bit longer, though, and maybe they'll be able to farm some more eliminations along the way.
I mean, Kara being at, 14 eliminations now is very impressive. I think the R8 likely are our utility because they had to throw everything in the kitchen sink to take down OG. They were very resilient during that engagement. But I do think for R8, it might be a little bit tricky going forward. Depends how much they're able to steal away from OG. And that's one thing they certainly did steal away is the hovercraft, which is going to give them a little bit of safety going forward. And especially in these final moments, again, because OG held onto it for so long, it didn't take any shots. Now it's super useful for this late game as a bit of maneuverable cover. That's a long nade. Feels like the bounce is not too bad, but GS does go down to the circle itself. Aaron gets shut down by Marth, who has just been on a tear all day today.
A huge elim count being racked up still.
Oh my,
they want
still
more
going
for Kara, and it's going to be Marth actually starting to take those shots out the way. See if he can take them down, but R8 lost a player crucially. Amori got flushed out on that situation, could not make it any further. I'm surprised there's still nades in the pockets for R8, but they've got at least one more here. And they want to try and find the opening to Kara. DRX, they've got everything on side right now. It is a question of who's getting second place in my mind. It's going to be very, very difficult to take DRX out of this one.
Yeah, I mean, for DRX, this is a freebie game, right? They haven't really done much whatsoever. This is one of those games that just gets gifted to you now and again. I think that, again, praise should be going through to teams like R8, teams like Kara, who have manipulated the circle very, very well for themselves. Maybe even I'd go ahead and say OG on that north side. I think that there's like those three positions of Kara down on the east, R8 coming through the west, and OG on the north. But for DRX, yeah, there's not much to be said about that squad.
I'm surprised that they haven't moved anyone up to the wall yet or moved out a little bit. They're kind of allowing ground here a little bit. Maybe timid, cowards. No, definitely not. That's a bit too much. But I mean, it should be theirs under control. They know that these two teams outside can't really move up unscathed, but Kara are going to give it a go. They're going to have a crack at it. Poser up first, and they slink out wide as well. With
I mean, what is
Lewis
that?
Moving on in. There's a knock over to Hyunbin. I mean, yeah, that definitely shouldn't be happening here. DRX are going to have to go for that res, and that might allow Kara even more leeway. See what CEO's getting up to the wall now. Things are starting to get a little bit dicey as R8 have the pressure of the blue zone pushing up towards them. This is the final zone blank, and it will close dead center on this one. It does go inside the wall, which means that Kara will have to cross that boundary if they want to win this one out.
Yeah, I think that they hope during that knock, I mean, 2 angles is all that DRX has there because one's taken up on the res, that they could finish out this fight as quickly as possible. The blues being a big issue, CEO able to hit a nasty nade again. I think this is a massive game for Kara going forward. Another nade goes slightly far, bobbles just a little bit too much. That's a wild nade coming through, goes straight out to the outer edge of the zone, but smokes is all that's in the way between Kara and R8 in this moment. And finally, DRX starts to make a move.
Kaisei flexes out to the wall there. The angle spotted though, and a nade immediately put towards his feet, and he has to dance out the way. DRX starting to get low on nades. They've only got 7 left. R8 are up to the wall as well. They've allowed the entrance to move on in. R8 will go down, but it's Kara to do the dirty, and they will find 2 more eliminations on their tally. A big nade from CEO. Will there be an answer from DRX? They're allowing this to go through, and the smokes there covering so much of their sightline.
I mean, the big difference right now is Kara is incredibly hot coming into this engagement, whereas DRX feeling very cold off this game. They've not done too much. It's the 4v3 and the 19 elims on this game for Kara. The Crows are flying strong here, but they take initial knock. They're trying to get the damage done. Hyunbin alive for the time being. The bullet scraping his backpack.
Not quite able to finish the job though. They swap over to the next vehicle, and at least Poser as a solo. DRX finally able to keep themselves standing. Hyunbin gets the res. 1 knock is all they'll find, and Kara denied the 20-point Elim game. They will go down in second place. DRX able to hold their nerve right at the end.
every single buckle blown off the back of that backpack in those final moments for Hyunbin. But the fact that he stays alive actually is the thing that gives him the chance, because so much time was wasted there for Kara versus Hyunbin. I think if they get that knock, there's a potential for a 3v4. I think Kara is really feeling that game, but still 19 points. That's a 25-point game coming through from Kara. Incredible scenes here at the Gauntlet.
A massive jump up for Kara. That has got to feel real good to be able to leapfrog all the way up the tables as they have just done. We've been waiting for it. We've seen some stuff from them previously in their regional positions, but up until now, sort of a little bit lacking. They did have a third place towards the end of yesterday, but it is good to see them finding a little bit more power into these situations.
Absolutely. And I think for Kara, again, they played it well. They have strong players on side. They're not the most well-known players in the world from that particular region, but they have all played for multiple years and are all veterans of the game, which is very good to see. But again, I think for DRX, it is just a little bit lackluster win. In the meantime, we'll see what the desk had to say about that match.
DRX down in 15th place, so desperately needed a chicken dinner, and they get one right here, right now. Maxman, why was this game so different for DRX? What made them get the chicken dinner as opposed to the performance pretty much for the rest of the tournament so far?
Oh, I was hoping you wouldn't ask me that question. They got circle gifted. Okay, you want me? Unfortunately, it is a win they desperately needed. Okay, don't get me wrong. They were in 15th position before this game. They were circle blessed. Luckily enough, they do go for that big push onto the side of Kara, as you can see here in this finishing blow moment. And they do get himself some really good swarm moments around Poser, get himself the wrap up, and get himself that chicken dinner. But it was definitely circle blessed. And it is not the win I wanted to see, Niptro, to be completely honest from them. A bit more presence when they do get eventually a chicken dinner. But you know what? As you stated before we got on the desk here, that give them a little bit more of a confidence boost to finally initiate that ascent in the rankings.
I 100% think that's the case because of the way they switched the flip, or flipped the switch, that's the one. They flipped the switch as soon as they decided, okay, now's the time to go, they went for it. That was the DRX we're used to seeing. So I think now they've got points, they're out of 15th place, they can relax a little bit, take a breath and go, okay, we've got a win. Yes, it was kind of handed to us, but we took it in the end. We've come back to where we need to be. Now let's go forward the way we want to play. So I really am hopeful for them now.
I mean, Sizzy, you can look at his face. He's just like, yeah, it's not quite the win we wanted. He's just like,
hey, we'll take it.
Happy about this game. I love his expression on his player shot.
So
it's great.
good.
But, overall, like the numbers coming out from the players are good. Like So Easy 4 eliminations, one coming out from Sizzy with 600 plus damage, which is very impressive. Hyunbin, of course, 2. He is my MVP contender for the Gauntlet. Might not happen anymore. It might just be sitting from the side of Thunder Talk. Clearly, Hot Jukes, unfortunately, but. Yeah, again, circle gifted to them. They were able to wrap up the win. So you know what? They were given an opportunity. They were able to strike while the iron was hot. Can't blame them for that. Sometimes circle just comes your way and you make the most out of it.
Hey, you know what? That's exactly what they did. I'll tell you one team that made the most out of it, even though they didn't get that such a circle blessing, and that was Kara. Oh my gosh, these guys went crazy, Neptura, especially that beautiful nade from CEO onto R8 to take out that side. Oh man, I mean, these guys went crazy. How do you feel about their performance here in this match?
I love it so much. This is the Kara I was expecting to see, Jukes. I mean, look, I saw them yesterday. I went, they're not playing the way they usually play. They usually play center to edge, and they just weren't doing it. I was like, why? Then yesterday in the mirror mark, we saw that a little bit more. Then we get to this game. Big split on the edge, 2-2 split mid-game to actually clear as much of the other circle, or the other teams in the circle as possible. Exactly what I wanted to see. They went back to their play style. They stopped letting, PMGC be a big pressure on them to change things up, went back to how they play, and look where it got them.
Well, you know, a team looking at these three had a really bad time. It was Alpha 7. The glider rotation into also 2 players swimming into Nova itself didn't work out. Unfortunately, they were trying to get scrapped here and they got nothing for their troubles. As though on the northern side, we did see for a bit Aru clapping back versus Thundertalk. That was a really good double spray and getting 2 eliminations right away. Aru popping off as the IGL and clearly can be a fragger from time to time.
Clutched it, man. I'll tell you what, I mean, we're talking about, you know, the confidence that we're going to see from OG building up. I mean, how much more confidence can you get whenever you take out the top team in the lobby, right? So, I mean, OG, great game for them. We also saw a little earlier, right? We saw GS be able to get the better up onto Virtus.pro. What do you think about that one, Max?
That was fun to see GS actually not go for APG. They understood we can share it, but Hodgix, what do you want to do when you have a perfect military island phase 1 circle? It's just like, well, we're going to have people are going to want to try and contest those locations away. But yeah, GS just showing themselves as a true contender. This is a team, Nipturo, that qualified outside of PMSL MENA with a singular point difference, barely qualifying into PMGC. And this is a complete change-up. This team is looking way more confident, willing to take fights. They're not scared, which is definitely a true sign of success in their adaptation to this kind of lobby. And I do wonder, can they maintain it for the entirety of this PMGC season?
I would love to see that. You see them on the here on the map here now. But yeah, I think also Jafar has been such a key player for them. It's been really nice to see them coming through what needs to be done and really just helped his team as well here. But that zone,
look at RA, they're like,
dude,
yeah,
exactly. I'm like, what?
I want that, man. What the heck?
And then circle? Cringe. We didn't play circle. What's the circle? I don't know.
Oh
dude, they're still over there when the circle's that small is wild.
That late rotation.
I'm surprised they got as far as they
I was
got
born
then.
in it. Molded by it. And they picked some really good fights. Prestige had a really good off angle in that fight, North versus Orangutan. It really set them up for success. And once they do clear Orangutan, they start holding on the western ridge, which gives them not only just a really good angle to third party, these southern fights. I think you had Ulf, you had Kara. They can easily get a third party opportunity on that. It also keeps them relatively safe. And you can see here, they don't really take too many casualties until they have to push over the ridge, which at that point here, Hodgix, we saw the nades of CEO were on point. And because of that, 25 points for Kara here. Outdoing DRX that got the chicken dinner. Kara, maybe this is the start of a great comeback.
It's got to be the start. I mean, come on, right? I mean, these guys, we were waiting for them to be able to put up a big performance. We're waiting for DRX to put up a good game. This is what we were talking about, Neptura, right? We knew that we were going to see some squads perform, and they did not disappoint.
They haven't at all. It's nice to see Ulf as well in the top 5 of these points, right? That's another team we wanted to see more from. And, you know, DRX, we talk about, yeah, you know, they got the win. It was a little bit handed to them, all of this. It's still 17 points. And when the leaderboard is kind of close, as we've seen it, that is really what you need. So 17 points going to push them pretty far up those leaderboards, I think, and they'll be able to now use that as a springboard into the next match. So very excited to see what they've got coming for us.
Yeah, Kara, they landed over there in Novo, right? And they just started playing that edge style you were talking about, right, before Neptura. You know, what do you think, you know, when it comes to Kara, right? What's the difference between this game and playing that edge style versus, you know, when we see them go center? Like, what do you think the big difference is for them?
For them, honestly, the difference between the two play styles, I feel, is how comfortable they are with it. Because they play center early on in the game and then switch to edge. And what we were seeing them do is play edge from the very beginning. And that only meant that they were getting left behind by all these other teams. So I really think that that's where they're going, oh, okay, wait, let's switch back. Let's do what we normally do. They're more comfortable and they can be more creative with it now. As so easy. It's not, hey, it's not Siting. For once, it's not Siting being the MVP of match 2.
Look at this pentagram. It's like healing 0, and then you just have a line 29 minutes survival time. You can barely see it, and then 0 assist. This is the weirdest pentagram graphic I think I've ever seen in PMG's PUBG Mobile Esports history. This is an odd looking one, but 0 healing again, showing that they were circle blessed. They didn't take any unnecessary fights. They weren't over peaking to like take fights that just didn't make sense. They're just like, we're given a free tick into the late game. Let's use it here, and it worked out.
Yeah, man. Oh boy, did it. Look at that. DRX now in 11th place, 37 points. So that's at 9 away from that 7th place position. By the way, guys, if you don't know already, it's 7 spots that are going straight to the grand finals. Everybody else is going to be going to that group stage, right? So looking at these leaderboards, Max, okay, we're about to hit that halfway mark, right? You got Geek all the way at the bottom. What is it going to take for these guys to finally wake up?
Points.
I mean, yeah.
Games? Good. I mean, yeah. I mean, for Geek in particular, I was quite disappointed because they were playing Observatory this game. They didn't do much with it. They were very hesitant, very slow, and Kara just saw an opportunity to kind of do what Geek should have been doing this game. So Geek need to see a step up, a little bit more confidence being displayed here in these lobbies. And same for any of the bottom teams. APG also, I didn't even do much this game. Niptura, we need to see the APG comeback, and as of right now, it's almost a halfway point. As Hodjuk said, it's getting a little bit late to initiate that comeback.
I know it is, isn't it? And, you know, even as we look at those leaderboards earlier, right, like even a win like from DRX is going 15th to 11th. So APG need to have a lot bigger of a game than even DRX did or Kara. I mean, they really need to shape their next game more like Kara, because Kara went from 11th all the way up to 4th place. 4th.
Wow.
In one game.
That's crazy.
I mean, APG need to be looking at Kara now. I know I keep going on about them, but honestly, I mean, CEO coming in here, 6 eliminations. 6. Come on. We know APG can pull those numbers.
I want to talk about Amori for R8. This guy has been consistently on these top 4 player graphics, right? I mean, when you're looking at R8, you're looking at Ida, looking at Skaton, you're looking at Marth. Also, there are some really good moments in day 1. But no, Amori is clearly the setup player. I don't think it's intentionally made in a way that he is initially the fragger. He's just a player that finds off angles to set up his team for success, and his off angles are genuinely, Hodjuk, so good. He just gets 3 points, 3 eliminations every single time. So Amori is genuinely a genius when it comes to the off angle plays, and so far it's been really paying dividends in these matches.
Well, you know, that's an interesting point here, right? Because Amori, he is definitely finding those off angles. You know, we saw in that later fight, though, one off angle that was from Prestige, right? Prestige was holding that huge off angle. I think that really set up that fight for them, right? What do you think about Prestige holding that off angle for so long? And then he finally grouped up with his team towards the end, right? But do you think that he should have held that there back a little bit longer, or do you think he joined up right on time with his team?
I think it was used perfectly, actually, in that fight there, Hodjuk. The way he was playing it, relatively passive, I would say. He was just trying to keep Orangutan in check and stop Orangutan from bleeding over that ridge. If Prestige is not in that position, I think Orangutan keep hitting some of those great nades they had in that fight, and they just completely overwhelm R8. Prestige's off angle is the only thing that kept Orangutan in check. So Niptura looking at R8, everyone, it feels like, on the team can pull off angles. I know Marth can do it since spring of this year, so they're just all off angle players. maybe that's the strat.
Honestly, it is kind of the strat. I mean, you see time and time again when you look at fights, very rarely is a fight won by 4v4 just right in front of each other. It's always a sneaky little off angle. It's always somebody wide wrapping that just provides that cover, you know, pushes a team into a corner and stops them from doing what they need to do to defend themselves well. So, you know, it is, if you have a team of all off-angle players, honestly, I find that that's probably like one of the best strats you can possibly have, just because it gives you that flexibility to do whatever you want and surprise them however you can.
Yeah, definitely. Though, looking at this graphic of the top 4 players, we've been on this one for a while. I kind of like how CEO is grabbing his logo. I don't know, it's just like
that had to be intentional, right?
Yeah. I mean, you look at this performance of CEO, it makes sense why he was on S2G. If you guys don't know, by the way, a little history lesson for CEO. He was on S2G. He was part of the biggest org in Turkey. That shows how much potential this guy actually has. He was part of the rising older generation of PUBG Mobile Esports, and he's still putting up numbers. So CEO, I wouldn't be surprised if he's able to, again, put up the numbers and contest the likes of maybe Regnum Karia moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, they already passed them up, so they're feeling pretty dang good going into these final matches. I'm looking right now at the leaderboards, right? Because with this next match, we're going to hit our halfway point here, right? So 7th place is that cutoff, Niptura. Looking on down, it's pretty close, right? I mean, we can see pretty much I mean, even Alpha Gaming, they're all the way down there in 14th place with 27 points. That cutoff right now is GS with 46, right? So, you know, how many more games do you think Alpha Gaming have to kind of breathe here, you know, before they need a chicken dinner? Or do you think like this Erangel match, it's time for them to put up some points? What do you think?
I honestly want to say like maybe one more game, but the way that the rest of the teams have been playing, I feel like we're starting to see some teams step up that haven't been stepping up so far. They're starting to come alive. They're starting to do what they need to do. So maybe one game is too late. I'm not entirely sure. I think it really does depend on how this next game goes. So yeah, maybe they do have one game. Maybe, I think. Because Regnum's starting to do stuff. Ulf are starting to do stuff. DRX, Wolves, they're all doing it. So APG, like one max.
Okay, one for Breathing Room, Max. Do you agree?
I would agree. I think that's a decent sample size to have for them to try and do a little bit of a jump up in the leaderboards. I mean, everyone's looking at APG, of course, trying to initiate that comeback. I'm looking at E-Arena. I'm going to look at the team that's below them right now.
Yeah.
They're in 15th position. They're just 1 point behind APG with 26 points for themselves. It's not impossible for them to catch up to top, but I was very impressed with how E-Arena, the players individually especially, were playing back at PMWC. They dominated this most recent PMSL SEA season, and I was very how they were going to play here, and unfortunately, they've just not been able to follow through with those initial promises we had earlier this year. I'm hoping E-Arena can make it because it would fit. Already, we don't have Bigatron, by the way, from SEA, which that alone feels weird. But if we don't see Arena make it, and maybe Dig Xavier, if we go like worst case scenario for SEA, I would be so sad, Hot Jukes. We need to see one of them at least make it to the finals. Please, I'm begging.
Please, please. I can't tell you. I was talking to you about this at the start, before the tournament even started, right? I was like, man, how do we not see Bigatron here, right? And it is the first PMGC in Bangkok, Thailand, right? It hurts to see, but hopefully EA could definitely happen here. I mean, it's definitely not too late, even for a team like, you know, Geekay, who's all the way last place right now. 18th, I mean, I don't think they have any room at this point. I mean, I think it's putting up double-digit points here and now if you want to have a chance at top 7, because I mean, you're right, Neptur, a lot of these teams performing so dang well. You really can't wait towards tomorrow for sure.
Oh, absolutely not. It's going to be far too late for that. I mean, we have seen big things from some of these teams in the final day, APG in particular, that like to just bring out an entire different APG to how it's been the last 2 days, but I wouldn't count on it. I think the lobby is too stacked. These other teams are sick up too early. That, you know, we're seeing things from Ulf. They're starting to make more moves. I mean, EA are starting to do, we've seen some things from them. It's a bit early just yet. No, they haven't been doing exactly what we wanted them to do, but there is still time for them to do it. And I think so there's a lot of questions, I think, for the lower half of the leaderboard, because there's going to be the top half of the leaderboard that are just going to take advantage of that slowness now, because they've already stepped up to the plate. Now that makes it more difficult for the others.
I want to touch upon your point of Ulf stepping up a little bit, doing a bit more. They are definitely a little bit more present in the later stages, but they're still not as aggressive as I would like to see them be. Like,
No,
you have
not at all.
Solis.
Yeah.
Again, you have like the Rising Star. I've touched him many times. Aaron, there was great play on Zeus last year during PMGC. They are not. Then actually, I'm going to be very harsh here, Hot Jukes. They're nowhere near the level of play that I know these guys can provide in these matches. They're nowhere near. I want to see a big change up, because at this current pace, I don't think they deserve to be in the finals. So I need to see them at least attempt to take fights, and that alone would give me a little bit more hope that Ulf maybe could make it to the next step and reach the finals.
Well, that's totally fair. We've seen a lot of teams on that second page do it. Will Ulf be able to do it right here, right now? Let's see if it's going to happen. Let's go ahead and take it on over to John and Blank to wrap up the first half of the Gauntlet.
Alrighty, let's go for another Erangel. We'll see if we're going to get another military island. It would be interesting. It would be exciting, but we are going to be heading on in. My name is John Allen. With me is, of course, Blank, and we're going to be getting stuck into this one. A close down at the end there for DRX to keep things under control, but we'll have to maintain a hopeful situation that we'll see something a little bit better from them this time around, even if it will result in a win. I would much just prefer to see another Kara performance.
The 19 Elim game was phenomenal. Very, very fantastic stuff to watch unfold. And I mean, overall, their game plan was pretty solid from start to finish. Sadly, weren't able to take on DRX. And again, it's from basically an open field with a couple of trees versus an entire compound. So DRX definitely had some advantage there, as well as having a bit more utility in those final moments. The fact they're able to hold them off for so long, it's like one of those situations where Kara, if they don't get that initial couple of knocks on towards DRX, they don't finish off R8, and I think that both get swarmed by DRX in that end game. But this is a west to east playing path, very kind one, first kind one we've seen today. We'll see where the circle ends up here. Thunder Talk taking a slightly different approach from last game, luckily for us, because that last one was a bit weird, honestly, overall. But we are heading over towards the eastern edge of the map, around Rozhok, Potato Hill area, just south of Yaz. So still Yaz Field in this one, John, but plenty of fun compounds to play this one out.
Yeah, we are going to see maybe a little bit of a diversion for Thunder Talk. Of course, they are close to Kara, though, so maybe a little bit of danger there. In general, we'll be keeping an eye on that Milta area. The circle a lot more centered towards that Potato Hill zone in the middle. A little scrap for Alpha Gaming, and actually, they're going to be able to win this time at the start of the game against one of the players from Wolves. They can't quite get there in time to pick him up, as Coops will be taken down. We are going to be heading to a little interview with Poser himself from Kara after that incredibly massive game. 19 elims. Let's find out how they did it. Oh, maybe not just yet. We've got about 20 seconds before that one. But either way, they are going to be tuning in for it. It was incredibly monumental. They were on for maybe a 23 elimination chicken dinner blank. But
welcome back to a quick report with the 7WG. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a new record for eliminations in none other than Kara Esports. I have Poser here with me. You guys were working those 2-2 splits wonderfully this last match. When did you decide to go to E-Arena?
Bu son maçta 2-2 oynamakla çok güzel oynadınız. Ne zaman Arena'ya üstüne saldırmayı düşünmediniz?
Nova'nın içindeyken alan bizden çektiğinde Arena ile oynarımız aynıydı. Ondan sonra ilk önce kıyı temizledik, sonra da onları temizledik. Adım adım iyi oynadık.
So the circle actually go on our gameplay with Arena. So when we saw that, we first clear the edge and then we jump on them.
And with this performance, I mean, it's going to shoot you up the leaderboard. What does that mean for the team?
Valla bu puanlama sizi sıralamada üst kısma çıkarttı. Nasıl hissettin bu takım için?
Şu an özgüvenimiz daha da yerine geldi. İhtiyacımız olan böyle bir maçtı. Henüz potansiyelimizi göstermedik. Daha yeni başlıyoruz.
So we got our confidence backs up, and then with this, we will show our performance that we can do better.
Hey, I'm hoping it continues on. 19 eliminations. I know the Turkish crowd is going to be hyped. Back to you guys.
Absolutely. It would be brilliant to see if they can carry that forwards. It is, however, very rare to see teams have two performances like that in a tournament. It would be something special, but we can always hope. Thunder Talk, though, they've definitely had more than one of those performances. It is a rarity.
Thunder Talk definitely a rarity in our games overall. 100 points, hit the century. Weren't able to get anything done on the last match, but again, they hit triple digits and thought themselves, let's take a short break. And we'll get right back to it over on the next angle here. Let's take a look at the leaderboards right now. There is that big jump off from third place down to fourth, with Mad Bulls in third place dropping down towards Kara with 55 and OG at 51. But as you can see, it's around 10th place where we see our next real big fall off from 44 to 37. So there is a lot of teams battling out for this top 7 here. And it should make for an incredibly fun final day tomorrow, where all the teams could be dipping in and out from that top 7.
We get a little replay on Doc getting the spray down onto Coops. They couldn't quite get away unscathed with the vehicle. Doc happy to have that point on side. A nice pickup found there. As we hop towards the middle of the circle, though, we're on board with Regnum Kaya, who have managed to take a very, very central compound, really important position as well, with a lot of sight lines out to control all the teams who are very likely going to be moving in fairly soon. We're now into our 6th minute of the match. And we'll see just who's going to be on the road nice and quickly. Hopefully, yeah, Thunder Talk, they're already moving. So we're not going to see another massive delay until, what is it, like Zone 8 or something like that. And they decided, oh, yeah, we should probably get towards the circle. R8 did it too, though. So, you know, it's not just them.
It isn't. I mean, it was possible. I mean, it was fun watching that little breakdown of the paths taken with RA really on a bit of a journey themselves down from that northwest side, starting just underneath Alpha 7 there, but having way more success from their position. I mean, even just getting on that western side anyway was very, very tough. I mean, there were so many teams there at the start of the game. I do think Virtus.pro going down so early actually opened up a little bit more possibility for space taking on the western side of Sosnovka. So some fortuitous stuff did happen. I think for Kara, they didn't quite get that benefit. They really did have to fight it out for that position, indicated by obviously the amount of eliminations they were able to pick up in that last game. You got OG here on our screens, just the western side of Shelter. Just waiting to see what they want to do next in terms of scouting, where players are coming from. Regnum Kaya left fairly early from their position, headed around where Dip is. And we'll just hold that out. With Ulf coming in from the northwest side, that is something they'll have to worry about in the short future.
Alpha 7 moving in on that north edge. Over that Rostock Bridge, uncontested on the crossing. A little bit more treacherous down towards the south. R8 moving out now from South George. They're moving around the foothills of Everest, trying to head out east. Behind the Mad Bulls, though, they will, if they want to go over the north side of Pachinki, they'll have to go through the Mad Bulls there, or try and find another way around to try and get into this one unscathed. It's easier said than done. Although Mad Bulls, they're leaving players over in Sunken. They wanted to control that bridge crossing to the north, I suppose. Get a little bit of info, a little bit of scouting from Tulika on the Mad Bulls. As GS move over the north, they're heading over the north of the Yaz Lake.
I mean, I think for E-Arena, heading down this way is not too bad. But again, we haven't really seen that early game prowess from E-Arena so far. I mean, round Geekay as well. Yasnaya is easily shared. With only 2 players there, I am slightly worried for them slightly. I think the rest of the team needs to get back in action soon. The Mad Bulls, though, like you're saying, over on that Western Rozhok side, coming through past school towards Chopsticks. This is always such a weird starting circle for a lot of our squads, just purely because what they're struggling with right now is deciding where they want to play going forward. Because as we head into Zone 2, like there's plenty of positions which are very, very valuable, but just not quite yet, because we don't know where it's centering up. Now we know that you kind of want to take some of these farm compounds nice and early, potentially even some of these positions underneath Potato Hill. Even playing over towards the southern side of the coast is not bad here.
I mean, it makes the decision-making process a little bit easier. The execution phase, though, a lot more tricky for our IGLs, for our teams to try and enact their plans now. Everybody on a mad dash south, trying to get into a very limited set of positions. Ulf got to be charging in from that north side, a little bit split. They've got a backstop there for Solus, trying to regroup. Regnum Kaya clashing with DRX on the inside of a compound. But you've got Ulf putting pressure on the north. You can't afford to go for a crash, as well as on the south coast entirely in the warehouses. DX Xavier, Wolves going back and forth here. Lamborn needs a pickup now. Paragin has to put the pin back in to save his teammate. Will be able to start that one. And Nate moves forward, securing it. They are on the inside. They should be fairly safe, but will they be allowed to get this res? Because there's more threat from the Wolves around the corner. And that's going to be Levi's taken out in the midst of it all. DX Xavier having a tough time on this pro.
With Paragin going down, Lambo going down there is very, very tough for DXA because they wanted a lot more speed on that one. And Levi's expected some backup on the side there. That wasn't meant to be a 1v1. That was meant to be a 2v1. Paragin getting taken out by Top. And Gara immediately picking up the elimination point for that. Goodness me. DXA and Wolves now just bottom of the pecking order right now. That's unfortunate. I think DXA can't really leave from this building either with the 2 sightlines that are set up here, John.
and they only got 2 elims for it as well, Blank. They weren't able to extract the full 4. They weren't able to do any more than that, which is unfortunate. You could excuse it maybe, you know, if you're able to get up to 4 points, right? And then no matter what, it's an okay game. You will keep yourselves in the conversation for 7th place, where DXavier currently sits right now, and they need every match they can get. We know how volatile the middle of these tables are going to be with the number of points that Thunder Talk are earning, and Kara having that oversight. They'll be all too happy to snaffle away any points that dare to step out of line.
So, I mean, the center of the circle is pretty packed right now. You got Kara and the Regnum Kari just above them, and the DRX holding quite central, but in the open zone. Mapple spots the team crossing along the way. It is GS, and they're happy to chase this one down with a mobile turret in the vehicle. It's 3 players in 3 cars, so I think they're assuming they can take those shots quite frequently, but they decide to back it off. They don't want to deal with that angle for too much longer, and a building gets taken up by GS. It is on the northern side of the zone, though, so it is not massively likely it's going to end up there, but it will give GS a little bit of a long breath, right? A bit of relief in this match. That is
enough.
a
Doran goes down.
Nade.
What a post through the letterbox there on the nade. Beautiful stuff. Didn't even need a stamp. CEO able to hand deliver that one. Lovely stuff. Able to pick up the pieces as well. Now they're going to have to move a little bit further west, potentially. I mean, Kara should be able to hold this angle. We'll see if they're able to do so against Thunder Talk, who are moving in on that coast side too.
It's hard to make the correct decision on this one because as we head further down towards the south side of the map, it slopes downwards, right? So you don't really want to play those positions. I think Alpha Gaming actually has a very good chance from their spot. They have a lot of high ground oversight here. The issue is they're going to have to play that late game a little bit more aggressively as the circle probably will move away from them. I think R8 has one of the more fixed positions inside of the circle. It's a lovely compound to play around with. Leaving it is slightly difficult because you do need to wrap around towards that northwest side. But in this instance, it's really good because I don't think they're imagining that it's going to be a hard west shift on the circle. So this just gives them nice 180 oversight towards their eastern edge. And that's a lot of information to be gained off the back of that one. OG making a mad dash along the way over towards a small building they can potentially play the rest of the game in.
Actually diverting one out to the shack as well. So they have got multiple angles. A run-up made a little bit harder because of that. With 4 players alive, I'm only seeing 3 in the middle there. Or maybe they are all 4 packed in. We'll have to wait and see just how they can hold the dead center here. They're in a little bit of a valley blank. So it is very much a standoff. They are committing to this location. It will be very, very difficult, if not impossible, to leave it. So they need to get the value in the mid-game here with elims.
Yeah, I think it's a risky play, but it's high value reward if this does continue to center up because it's very much open ground around them. Like you say, leaving through the open ground is treacherous, but if they have to deal with teams walking up towards them, it should be a fairly easy hold. So I think for OG, it's a case where you play this position and like you say, you are just committed to it now. But it is fairly central. They had no real other options other than playing sweep on the edge. And I think they're more comfortable playing this anyway. They're quite decent when it comes to holds. So we'll see what OG can do from this spot. It's a slightly early commit though at stage 3. But because it is so dead central and in a compound, I think you make that call here and now.
Too far. Angles over towards Virtus.pro, the rest of GS as well. They moved out to the north side to try and have a breather, but they're being crushed down a little bit here. Virtus.pro have to turn around. They don't want to get stuck into that anymore. Little sweet drift there for Virtus.pro. Maybe they're reorienting. Maybe they do want to get stuck in. Okay, no, they're just biding their time and leaving tire marks on the grass. Someone's got to look after that. That's very inconsiderate to the groundskeepers.
It is indeed. Thunder Talk playing down towards the southern docks as all 4 players. There is a chance it does go down towards that south side. It's not always the greatest and latest of positions, but with a little cover and the little positions available in that spot, docks is not that bad. The question is how well you can hold it as a solo team. It does get to those points later on where you end up sharing that position on the east and the western side of it, often leaving the warehouse open as it's a bit easier to nade out. But I think that for Thunder Talks, this is a good spot to play in going forward. Now, OG has an option now because most teams are going to have to wrap around on the east and the west side, is whether they want to move a little bit close to the circle, play out in the open with some vehicles, or just stick to their guns.
Rufus on the inside, not going to win that one. Arena able to find it in an immediate shutdown. Alpha Gaming not in a position to go for the backup there, and Zyol caught out in the open by R8 across the way. That's a couple of 100 meters out there. A long shot coming on through. In the meantime, Gike, Regnum Kaya clashing on the inside here. You've got DRX on the north of this fight too. Those nades are coming on through, but it is Regnum Kaya to draw first blood. However, it's traded off. Flushes need to come through now, and Safji will be able to find it. Unfortunately, it is taken down in the process. Kevin on the outside, though, looking to try and hunt down more Regnum Kaya players here as he steps forwards to Loxy. Low HP on Zedwall. Not really step too far in, but with a shotgun to play against, you know it's probably not super likely that you're going to go down through the consistent spray. Regnum Kaya, however, go down to DRX on the approach, and that is going to be an overwhelming force from DRX on the north side. Not timid this time around.
I think the craziest thing is Kara gets a shot in there, by the way, from all the way down the southwest side, able to pick up Loxy as he jumps out the building. Regnum Kaya just melted under the pressure there, and DRX actually pick up a fairly decent spot for themselves, all in that short moment of time. I think they'll be very pleased with how that one turns out. In comes Ulf over towards ThunderTalk's position. Again, like I said, this is a large area, difficult to hold as 4 players, and they're trying to gauge where exactly the ThunderTalk players are currently. Luckily for ThunderTalk, they always have this angle up top side. APG doing a good job to protect them from any target that comes towards them, and some fantastic nades are being lobbed up their way to secure some more points.
Goodness me, Ulf, they try and move into the hills on the north side of this compound, but they're denied entry. Everybody with the third-party angles. Eren, though, has actually managed to make it for the south side, so a last player alive for Ulf.
Hello.
In the meantime, Doc now has more arena players to worry about. 3 players actually taking shots out his way. You can see the rest of them trying to move through. He's forced out wide and taken down as soon as he moves. Sakura clocks him. And now Top has to try and find something in response because Doc is not getting back up.
Yeah, it's a good third party coming through from E-Arena. They noticed there was fighting going down on this side, but it seemed to be only one player. But RA currently in an engagement between them and VP. One player left alive for RA and nowhere near this engagement. It's Prestige. Looks to send some Molotovs in. It's a good position to throw them out, but VP immediately moving forward. Amori in the backlines in the shack, priming a nade of his own. It's a long toss on it. A big gamble, but doesn't hit on target.
Prestige down in the smoke has been spotted now. Voston keeps his head on the swivel, spots the player down in the dirt, and leaves Amori the last to stand for R8 across the road. And actually, OG are moving in on that north side, so that could be a big problem in their very near future. I think Alpha Gaming did just go down. E-Arena able to finish the job as the circle goes back towards the center of this one, leaving those cliff tops out of it.
Yeah, I mean, OG can continue to play on this north side, but again, it's this question of where do they go next? I mean, luckily, because they cut out so much of their position on that northern edge, they don't really have too many teams watching in of where they're going to be maneuvering next to. I do like the way ThunderTalk is currently playing this, though, is where they're not splitting up into a singular area on docks, because they don't want to give an opportunity for a team like Ulf there to swing all the way around and crash into a singular part of the docks. Instead, they're spread across it. They take fire as teams come in and then rely on teams playing on the cliff to basically do the job for them once they lodge them on that hillside just to the north of it. It's an interesting play, and it's working out very, very well for ThunderTalks.
E-Arena going to have to make a move, and maybe ThunderTalk will take some shots out their way, but I think Virtus.pro are going to be more preoccupied with holding them out. Maybe a drop down the cliff face, maybe go for a swim here for E-Arena. Tourniquet certainly taking that option. The question is, will they be spotted? Alpha 7, they're biding their time on the southeast side, but they do have to make a charge across the open ground here towards Mad Bulls, or, well, what's left of the Mad Bulls, rather. There's only 2 still standing there.
Game's going to slow down a lot, but Kara actually has a very strong spot to work with. There are 4 players as well looking for another huge game for themselves. They also have been consistently taking pot shots at teams, so they've been very proactive from their position. Even if there is a squad 200, 300 meters out, they've been very aware and been taking shots that way. And the more casualties that they can cause within this lobby, the easier their end game is going to become, because again, as teams start to get crunched towards the center here, more and more fights are going to be taking place out in the open, and these are not fights where it's likely you're going to live with 4 of your players. You're likely going to have to sacrifice 1 or 2 just to win an engagement.
We saw Singh there actually stepping out onto the docks for ThunderTalk, and Eren laying low, not wanting to get involved. May have sightlines on it. The question is, does he want to pull the trigger here, expose his position? Let them know he's there. Tony K moving up to the pontoon there. Trying to hold it down. I have no doubt that Aaron knows exactly what's going on here. And he is opting not to take these shots. You just can't confirm the point. It's much more valuable to play with the protection of Thunder Talk around you and try and play for it later.
Oh
Tony
my.
K steps up and he wins that? How on earth do you win that? Stepping up out of the water, draws the weapon, and immediately lands the shot of the Shing. That has got to feel real bad on the south side there. And that's going to move King out to have to go for this res, to have to try and pick up their teammate. This is Aaron's time to shine. And he steps up and does exactly what he needs to. That is what he was waiting for. And Thunder Talk are having a nightmare here.
Oh, this is very bad indeed. Thunder Talk likely down to 2 players. We're seeing it's going to be a difficult pickup from their side. Completely lost track of Tony K as well. And that's one of those things where you only send out 1 player. You know he's in the water, so you look to just finish him off, but you do not expect the 4th player from Ulf to still be alive on the other edge. Dear me, we are surfing here over on the docks. And Thunder Talk are currently dealing with the tsunami. Okay.
Side shift. They have to push out, so they're going to have to leave here as well. This does mean that they can just fully disengage and look to leave these solos to their own devices, but that's going to be difficult because you've got Virtus.pro and Kara who are going to know all about what's happening here.
Quick knock from OG down towards Virtus.pro. I mean, it's a good time to be doing it as the circle starts to close inwards, but Voston with an immediate response over towards that top side gets a good shot over towards the tanky, leaving just him and Aru there. And the question is whether Virtus.pro even want to go for a wraparound on that side. I mean, OG has to call for some slight reinforcements here.
I mean, it is good news, I think, on the north side for OG. And they've got enough to play with. That cover, that re-knock over towards Virtus.pro. They didn't need to get the flush there. They just needed to slow Virtus.pro down, force them into an unfavorable fight. Tony K may have bit the dust, and he will indeed go down to the nade from AJ. Only the 1 player to go down from Thunder Talk, and it could have been worse. But Aaron really bided his time well there. He played the time perfectly, and actually maybe afforded an opportunity to have a chance to get another point or 2.
Yeah, currently we're in the top 10, so 3 more teams would have to go down before we start hitting placement points. DRX holding on to their position quite nicely as GS attempted to assault their position. Hyunbin on the top stairs looking for Icon right now.
In the meantime, the roll-up for Virtus.pro is dismantled on that northwest side. Unfortunately, there is a knock sent back over towards them. GS finally going down there, but it is going to be OG holding quite well. The reses, though, are starting to come through. There's the first flush coming in, and there is, unfortunately, the re-knocks coming in from Virtus.pro. They stop, though. They move sideways, move laterally on the fight, and OG not going to be able to connect these nades if they haven't spotted it. Will they put them in the right place here as the nades bob forwards? Not quite on the target. Haven't seen the retreat here, but AJ, Thunder Talk, they're all sailing on in. Virtus.pro now have another team, and the vehicles swinging around wildly. What is going on? OG, move in, get these knocks, get these points here, because Thunder Talk are moving the slivers of HP.
Going down?
Virtus.pro go down, and 3 players from Thunder Talk still stand tall, but OG, they've taken a knock. What have Thunder Talk just done? What?
I mean, DRX were taking shots across the way at OG whilst that all was unfolding. I don't know how Thunder Talk gets away with it, but they absolutely do. AJ with the run down the vehicle, smearing VP across the fields. And now AKOP trying to get his HP bar back up again. A nade sent across towards the tree, slightly lagging behind the rest of the team. A nade sent along the edge of the blue here could be devastating. And it is close, but not close enough.
Going to be able to find it there, stepping out towards the blue. Thunder Talk get back in the vehicles, playing true chaos strategy there on the roll up to VP. There was nothing they could do, it seemed. He's going to be running out of ordnance fairly soon. Drops the last, covers his retreat with that flash. That's going to allow Thunder Talk to disengage. Play on as 3 from here, which is crazy. Kara, I don't think they're going to be able to do the same thing, but I don't think they need to. With the circle as it sits, they keep in on the south side, and they may be able to find a chicken dinner this time around where they couldn't quite before.
Yeah, it's a very strong position, but again, we are still going out into open ground now. I think OG's got to be a little bit careful because DRX knows exactly where they're playing from, but know they need to move down towards that south side. So DRX looking to set themselves up early or just rotate into the building along the way from Kara. Lewis does have a nade. Marceau sets himself up. It's a bit of a short lob, but it's on target. Soez gets knocked out with a nade to the forehead.
Hits him with the swift underarm there. Nice little knockdown. Nearly getting Hyunbin. The pan coming in clutch there to stop the DXavier shots. The shots from across the way. Taking him down on the rooftop. A really difficult res to go for. You have to drop down. It's bad news. DRX have been able to get a lot of elims so far this match. It seems like they heard me call them a little bit cowardly last time around. They're already up to 10 here, Blank. And they want to add 4 more to the tally. See if they can break records themselves as they move on forwards. The flash comes through. The nade goes through to the back. Hyunbin goes 1-for-1 on the trade. The DRX have the flash sent their way. Drops down in the middle. Lewis holding the back lines, and there's only the one player for DRX faced off against 2 on the inside.
ThunderTalk just rock straight up over towards DXavier and handle them. This is so weird from ThunderTalk considering it's a very different style of gameplay from them we're used to seeing. Good nade from Nate T himself over towards Singh, leaving ThunderTalk, I believe, just on the final player now as OG remains stalwart on that north side.
They can get the reses in the shack for ThunderTalk, though. There are still 2 of those available. The question is, does DXavier have a nade? Stow Kara on this hold. Poser is down. But they're getting that rezzed up very quickly. DRX slowed it all the way out here. You can see they're on 10 elims still, but with only 2 players, the wind's been knocked out of them just a little bit. QXZ wants to try and drop down there, and he will get the shot. Over at the Poser, the relock is strong. Gonna keep Kara from overwhelming them on the repeats here. He goes in for more. He wants to find another, but there's his teammate going down. Lewis steps out, put into a shotgun. A barrel straight into his face, and Lewis goes down as well. They will finally take him down, but they lose a player, and they have to get these reses fast, Blank.
Over the top tries to thread it in towards the shack, but a good shot from AKOP will take down Sighting almost instantaneously as well. Now they got to figure out how they want to play this one out because, again, for OG, they are passing through open ground. I think for ThunderTalk, they desperately want to get rid of DXavier, but Nate, immediate reposition from his side. This is a good survival play for him. Again, DXavier has been on the receiving end of survival plays for quite some time now. We haven't seen a truly dominant game from DXavier just yet.
It's disappointing as well, given their prowess, given their record this year. They've had a really, really strong showing, but it's just not coming through yet in the Gauntlet. We'll see what more they can do. Nades being thrown out by ThunderTalk still.
It's good,
right,
actually.
they got anything left and they find an opening. You're kidding me. ThunderTalk just seem untouchable here. Nading Aru off the tree, doing a lot of damage. That's going to be unresable now. The rotate out wide. AKOP needs to stand tall. Will be able to do 1 and a second as well. The double knockdown, but across the way, there's still a 3rd player for ThunderTalk going. It's all up the WizGod. It looked like OG might have had the game under control there, but Kara now with the numbers advantage.
I'm just so confused of what ThunderTalk's doing in this game. Sighting sending it out again over towards OG. It's like a completely different type of ThunderTalk this game. Nate maybe going for the 1v3. CEO is able to put him down, fires him from the company, and at least will be able to remain up and present. WizGod moves up, and in the meantime was able to take down ThunderTalk. Now, it's a 1v1 technically as the blue continues to push in.
I think they've got time to get these reses off, Blank. The blue zone's not going to move for a couple more seconds. They may just be able to get through. Marceau will heal. Poser will be able to get up and step out for another sight line. Unlikely that Poser's going to be able to heal, though. Actually, they might still have time here. They do. Goodness me. This means a full 3 for WizGod to be able to have to deal with here, and he doesn't have any nades in hand. With a nade, this could go a different way, but I feel like WizGod might be able to find 1 or 2, but 3, I'm not sure. When Marceau goes out, drops the smoke train towards him, they know exactly which rock he's on. As soon as they get in range, they don't have the nade either. Steps out, and that's a little sliver of HP taken away, and he doesn't have any meds to play with. This is nasty.
Big stun grenade. WizGod just has to hide it out for the time being. But it's looking close. Can WizGod close this down? It's looking slightly unlikely. Regardless, he has been through the war zone this game and will go out valiantly. But it will be Kara to come off from a 2nd place and 19 points into a chicken dinner. What a sweep from these guys.
With 11 elims, they find another game really, really strong. It felt like they were the winners in that last match. This time, it rings true. That south side shift playing well to their compound. And Kara are on a massive resurgence here. It's what Neptura said she wanted to see from them over on the desk, while she's being treated to a repeat there. Orangutan as well, playing very well on that northern side, doing a lot to control. It was just so unfortunate that Thunder Talk somehow are able to apparate wherever they want to within the circle. That was some crazy rotates coming in.
Oh, bro, I just couldn't believe we were just watching Thunder Talk just go alpha lever in the vehicles. It made absolutely no sense to me, John. It was like watching them go from tactical gameplay to suddenly, you know what? We're just going to give it our all here. Get in the vehicle, put the metal to the pedal, and just get things going.
Yeah, it's really quite impressive how they were able to do it. But I have no idea just what happened there for Thunder Talk. I'm sure the analysts do. Let's take a look.
Okay, man, what a game. Are you kidding me? This game had it all. We saw the crazy push from Thunder Talk onto Virtus.pro. I mean, these guys are flexing themselves out, but Kara with the back-to-back chicken dinner. Max, man, what we've been waiting for.
Hey, Kara, back-to-back win. Neptura, you are the reverse curse. Less right now for this team. You wanted to see step up, and like the thing is, they drop arm, right? This is their drop location through and through. They love this area, and it was just so lucky for them that the circle ended up going that way. But it was not just a game like we saw for its last match. This is Kara actually zooms away by building. Lewis in particular, top angle versus DRX was just in particular just putting Turkey on the map when it comes to the Gauntlet. They are the best from their region, which I did not know the Regnum Karia in this exam lobby.
Right? Yeah, prize coming here. I did know Kara were gonna be a foreskin with it. It took a little time to get beat, but once they have, I cannot them the edge, the controls that they've got. You know that, like you said, that roof angle was just demolishing for DRX. Really good game, all right, but no match for that angle. And the rest of Kara just able to support those angle great shots. And big stuff coming in for them.
I don't know why in my mind this was a back-to-back Kara win because they got such a elimination. I'm like, wait, in place. It was DRX that did end up winning. I'm like, but no, it almost was a win in terms of how many points they did bring home after that first Erangel game of the day. They're going through the replays here. I think we were quite critical about Alpha Gaming. Why do we take this unnecessary fight versus E-Arena in the double warehouses? They could just hug the cliff and they would have been just fine. Easy access into the late game here where top is on this replay. And they decide against it. That was a big fumble in my opinion.
I'll take it one step further, Max. I'd say that once EA were in the building, they should have let it go. But why are they in the building in the first place? But Tony K coming in here, EA, I mean, this was insane. Just insane.
He's like, I am Tony K. He's going to rename. He's taking Tony K's name now. He's him.
Oh my goodness.
Crazy after crazy play. I loved this game so much. It was just, what was this game? It's just such chaos. Back-to-back chaos in the end game. I did so much.
Look, you're going to see Kara barely. You're going to see them barely move this high again. Okay, even E-Talk, technically, they dropped Milta, so they didn't have to do this game. Orangutan, also similar, drop in Shelter, playing the northern side. Everyone got in position pretty much phase 1, positioning into phase 2, and then they didn't move much for the rest of this game because there's so many compounds open for the taking early on in this game. They just go there, play it for as long as they possibly can, and hope the circle does eventually favor you towards the end, which it did for Kara. Actually, Kara did do a really nice 2-2 split there. You did see for a second there, 2 players north of the road, 2 players south, to just keep their options open, Neptura. And here, clearly, that was a position that enabled them to get easily into the later stage while really taking no fights at that point.
Yeah, it was really nice because they were able to regroup and know when to regroup as well. As soon as DRX started making too many moves, they were like, you know what, it's not worth it. We're going to go over here. And it really did work for them because look where that zone takes them. It doesn't take them out that compound hardly at all. Only until they're up against just one player left did they have to move out of that compound. So really, really worked out in their favor. And 21 points. Remember, they jumped 11th to 4th place after the game. Now with 21 additionally, where on earth is that going to put them now?
Oh my, it's ridiculous. I mean, yeah, they had 5, now 21, at 46 in 2 games, Max, man. Wow. I mean, this is ridiculous. I mean, even their talks probably got worrying about that sooner. They get another game like this. So what a crazy finish for Kara. I mean, Thunder Talk had that crazy push, right, onto Virtus.pro. My question is to you, Max Man, right? Do you think they do that if they're not in first place with such a big lead, or do you think that is just so typical to talk at this point?
I do think, Hodges, there's a certain level of we've made it, let's have fun with it. No,
yeah, right?
Okay, we know. Oh, by the way, congratulations Leo from Kara being the MVP. Are we surprised? No, probably going to be MVP of the day, to be completely. But yeah, look, I think there's a certain level of like made it, be comfortable. Let's just try and flex out possible and just not secure their position, playing very aggressive, which actually kind of hurt them right now, because they lost 2 players to Aaron, and of course we did have a Tony K coming in from the arena, also getting the clutch. Maybe they can.
Guys, যারা দেখছেন অবশ্যই লাইক করবেন,
big plays, but you know what? As of right now, it's enough because they still are third with 111 points, 3 wins. Thunder Talk, yeah,
আমাদের আর 16টা সাবস্ক্রাইবার লাগে, 100
you're the first in the news alongside Vampire. You did it.
So good, so good to see. I love that play, chaos, and I want to see.
Dude, I mean, just look at Kara, 3rd place. 6 points in total. Like again, in the 2 games, they have outperformed these teams in their entire day's performance, Max. How crazy is that?
And they were in the middle of this. It's been a quick comeback story. Kara, they're still quite a bit away from Thunder. They've just been so damn consistent as a team. But you know what I do want to highlight is the fact that RA are still holding strong onto that second. Right, of course, they're currently tied between 3rd place between them and Kara. This, you would have showed genuinely at the start of the Gauntlet and say, this is what we're going to have at the halfway point of that. Say, there's no way. This is a big, like all the other, and a lot of the teams that are rising star effective regions are at the top. What is going on? PMGC so negative and.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Halfway through day 2 of the Gauntlet here, and I'm with none other than DRX Yumbin, a team that has been able to make a big jump up in regards to points. Day 1, 11th place, 19 points. Today, they have scored 51 points, especially with the performance here in Erangel. Yumbin, you've gotten a win in Erangel. You just got a good performance as well. What was the biggest adjustment you guys have made in day 2 for Erangel?
저희 DRX 팀이 어제보다 오늘 점수 엄청 많이 먹었어요. 혹시 어제보다 오늘 좋은 점이 뭐라고 생각하고 있어요?
어제 저희가 했던 운영 방식이 좀 많이 맞지 않았던 것 같아갖고 오늘은 이제 운영적인 부분을 좀 많이 바꿔서 한 것 같습니다.
I think that our team has a communication a lot and changed our play style today. So we do very good today.
Okay, well, I like to hear that. I'm glad you guys have made those adjustments. Now, let's rewind it back a little bit because there is a map that you guys are struggling with, and that map is Rondo. What is causing those struggles in Rondo, and what can you change going into tomorrow for that last Rondo of the Gauntlet?
론도 G2에서 그렇게 잘하는지 아는 것 같아요. 근데 혹시 내일 위해서 어떤 노력을 할 수 있을까요?
오늘 론더 같은 경우에는 저희가 이제 중앙을 잘 들어갔는데 저희 스스로 이제 쓸 자리를 잘 못 써서 터졌다고 생각했기 때문에 내일은 좀 더 잘 보면서 생각 많이 하고 좋은 자리에 쓰려고 할 것 같아요.
I think we should get to the middle of the map, but we can't do it well today. But we should be good at tomorrow.
Is there any team that's causing you any issues in Rondo?
혹시 론도 G2에서 어느 팀이 DRX 팀에게 무슨 어려운 점을 했어요? 다른 팀이 DRX 팀이 론도 팀에서 론도 팀에서 DRX에게
In like the rotation or anything like that?
싸우는 거 아니면 그냥 DRX 팀이랑 무슨 어려운
저희가 어려운
네네네 네네네
그냥 저희가 쓸 자리를 잘 못 찾고 다른 팀들한테 여러 번 맞아갖고 죽었던 것 같아요.